Good evening, everyone. I'm Cindy Silva. I have the honor this year of serving as the city's mayor, and I want to welcome you to the October 17th, 2023 regular meeting of the Walnut Creek City Council. It is wonderful to see so many people here in the chambers, particularly on a night when we're honoring so many of our youth. So welcome, everyone. We are conducting this meeting under the California law and the rules for public meetings. We will take public comment from members in the audience as well as in writing, although that will not be written into the record. We are no longer having virtual meetings in which we will take virtual public comment. At this point, I notice that all 5 council members are with us, so we have no requests for special to be able to participate in a meeting remotely. So I will now ask you all to rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Would the city clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Darling.
Here.
Councilmember Francois.
Here.
Councilmember Wilk.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Haskew.
Here.
Mayor Silva.
Here. We have 4 special items at the start of the meeting this evening, and we are going to start with an announcement and proclamation about October and the Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So the month of October in the United States is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and it's really a time for us all to acknowledge the importance of identifying, protecting oneself from, and responding to cybersecurity threats. It's also an opportune time to remind ourselves that we have a shared responsibility to be aware and take action to be cyber secure. Tonight, we're proclaiming our official support as the Walnut Creek City Council for this year's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we want to thank our city's information technology team and others across our community who work each day to keep our cyberspace secure. Thank you all very much for your work. Each year across the nation, we observe Hispanic Heritage Month between September 15th and October 15th, which gives us an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the histories, cultures, and contributions of Americans whose ancestors came from Spain, from Mexico, from the Caribbean, or from Central and South America. This 30-day period in which we observe Hispanic Heritage Month is particularly important because it is the anniversary of independence for a number of Latin American countries: Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua, in addition to Mexico and Chile. It is also Columbus Day, or Dia de la Raza, which is October 12th, falls within this 30-day period. Hispanic Heritage Month particularly is important in California, and particularly notable because Hispanics and Latinos, as we know, are the largest ethnic group in the state. They also represent 18.5% of the United States population, which is the largest ethnic race and racial group in America. We are so proud of our Hispanic heritage in this state. We're very honored. It's generations long, from the original Spanish settlers who walked from Mexico on behalf of the country of Spain to settle our state. And that was 10 generations ago. My husband is related to 6 of the families that came with the original 125 that came from De Anza and Junipero Serra. So it is my honor this evening as the mayor of the city of Walnut Creek, and on behalf of all of us on the city council, to hereby proclaim September 15th through October 15th, 2023 as Hispanic Heritage Month in Walnut Creek, and to encourage all in Walnut Creek to recognize the significance of Hispanic heritage and the history in our nation as well as in our city. We were hoping that the representative of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce was going to join us this evening. Is he here, or is he still looking for a parking place? Well, when he arrives, we hope he'll say hello. So thank you all for being here and being able to participate in this proclamation. Next on our agenda is a true celebration because we are welcoming back from their first visit as ambassadors from Walnut Creek to both Sheofolk, Hungary, and Noceto, Italy, on behalf of the Walnut Creek Sister City International. And who's going to lead us off on behalf of the Youth Ambassador Program? You're going to have to compete with some road music.
I'll try to speak loud. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting us to your council meeting. Listed are the Walnut Creek citizens who traveled as ambassadors to our sister cities of Sheofolk, Hungary, and Noceto, Italy. My name is Michelle Trainer Stefanos, and I am a teacher at Foothill Middle School. On September 28th, Walnut Creek Sister Cities sent 7 8th graders to Sheofolk, Hungary. I traveled as a teacher chaperone with our parent chaperone, Deborah Nip. The mayor of Sheofolk asks that you accept this gift as a symbol of our friendship between our two cities. The mayor welcomes you and looks forward to many more years of friendship, and stated it is our water tower that stands central to our town and is beacon of light to welcome visitors. So I want to present this to you.
That's lovely. We will put it in the cabinet outside the door. Thank you. I hope the mayor is well.
Yes, he's very well. Very kind. I won't go into it, but very kind. I know we have such a short period of time. Anyway, our ambassadors from Hungary will now introduce themselves and share what school they go to and photo depicting a special memory from their trip. Clara Decker, Graham Lawson, and Oliver Nip will lead us off, speaking about their overall experience in Sheofolk.
Hello, my name is Clara Decker from North Creek Academy. Preparing for my trip to Hungary, I had no idea that going to school would be one of the most memorable takeaways. I was struck by how different their school day was from mine. A big difference between the Hungarian school I visited and my school were the classes were shorter, about 30 to 45 minutes in length. Second, in between each class was a 10 to 20 minute break. I believe this is one of the factors that led to almost no talking nor outbursts in the classes, since students had plenty of time to talk in between the classes. Finally, the cafeteria. The food was well made and seemed very fresh. I do not know if it was prepackaged or not, but it seemed very unlikely that it was. I didn't see anyone with a lunch from home. Everyone was eating the deliciously prepared school hot lunch, which included a strawberry soup, layered potatoes, and a rice dish with chicken. The school was very welcoming to our arrival, and I would like to say thank you to everyone working there if I could. The school was great. Lastly, I was asked to select a picture for my trip, and I chose a picture from Tihane Abbey because I found it fascinating that the church had survived almost 1,000 years. We do not see architecture this old in California. We were also able to watch a short film explaining lots of rich history about this church, including the fact that Hungary's King Andrew was buried there in 1060. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Graham Lawson. I go to Tice Creek School, and I went to Hungary, as you know. My overall experience was a great experience, I would say. Such in fact that when we got on the plane, I was very, well, I would say homesick, but it wasn't my home, but I wish it was. I have learned a lot about the culture in Hungary, I would say. Like how the parents really do trust their children with a lot of things that I feel like here in America we would not trust them with. Specifically, for sure it was Wednesday night. Me and my host, we went to a small restaurant on the side of the road, and we ate dinner without the parents at all, which is very surprising to me because I feel like both my parents would have been there and all of my family with me. But nope, they just dropped us off and we had some dinner. And also, the fact that they can really just go up to anybody and say hello and just chat about like the weather or about sports or something, and they could just do it to anybody. Like I could walk up to that man right there and just say, like in Hungary, they could walk up to that man right there and just say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so, and I like the weather today." And I found that very interesting. And thank you for your time. Sorry, I forgot my image. My image is of a church in Budapest. This picture, I feel, represents how people coming together can create really beautiful things, such as, well, the church. People came together for the sole purpose of religion, in this case, and built a incredibly beautiful church. So thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Oliver Knipp. I go to Tice Creek Middle School, and I was an ambassador for the Hungarian exchange program. As a part of this program, I lived with a host family for 9 days and got to experience daily life in Hungary, as well as historical sites and tourist attractions throughout the area of Siófok. For example, we met the mayor of Siófok and even went to a local festival. Going to Hungary, there were some challenges that popped up. Not many people there spoke English, so if I was asked a question, it would be pretty awkward. I sometimes got confused with the different currency, and sometimes when I was eating dinner with my host family, I would get confused from the differences between dining culture. I made so many great friends throughout my trip, ones I'm guessing I'll talk to for a long time. I miss seeing them and bonding with them. I miss the times we went on the bus and we wondered where we would go next. Sometimes the castle, and other times places like Budapest, the capital of Hungary. I would recommend this trip for anyone thinking about doing it. This changed my perspective about many things, like manners at the dinner table. You will make amazing friendships, and you'll have memories that last for a lifetime. So I chose this picture because it shows the beauties of Hungary as well as the historical side. The view is amazing, and the river just puts it all together. But it shows other things too. You can see the older side of Budapest and even the Parliament building. This beauty, mixed with the historical opposite, makes this picture perfect. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Flynn Golston, and I attend WCI Middle School. In this photo, you will see me putting a letter that I wrote to the mayor of Siófok in a case dedicated to gifts from Walnut Creek. This is one of my favorite photos because it reminds me that I will forever be a part of the history between Walnut Creek and Siófok.
My name is Ruby Harris. I go to Foothill Middle School. I had a wonderful experience going to Siófok, Hungary. This is one of my favorite pictures that was taken. It's with my host sister, Hannah. We went to this castle in the middle of nowhere that was about 30 minutes away from Siófok. It was really cool. It had a very large field and a mini lake. And I thought it was just a great experience to have time to bond with my exchange student and just get to know each other better. I picked this photo because it was one of my favorite memories from Hungary, and I'd definitely go back if I could. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Victoria Ling. I go to Foothill Middle School, and I traveled to Siófok, Hungary. This picture is a picture of one of my favorite memories when I was there. And we went to a zoo where I got to ride this camel, and I got to see so many cool animals. And I feel like it was a good experience that I would never have here because it was just so different. And that's why it was one of my favorite memories.
Hello, My name is Julia Mendegrahl, and I go to Contra Costa Christian School. I took this picture on Lake Balaton, which is the largest lake in Central Europe, and it was very fun to visit. Thank you.
My name is Brendan Hurd, and I'm very happy to teach at Walnut Creek Intermediate School. On September 28th, I escorted 9 students to Noceto, Italy, and it was my honor to chaperone them with Cece Pirtle as well, who was my excellent parent chaperone. These kids were very, very well behaved. They honored our city. I think both groups, that can be said, very mature young people that were very positive and gave a very good impression. The mayor of Noceto asked that I pass along these wonderful gifts, but it was Cece Pirtle who found this wonderful poster in the Museum of Topography, which, you know, it's a printing museum. And there's only 3 of these posters, and Cece asked for it, they gave it to us, and Cece got it framed. So, Madam Mayor, thank you so much. This is a wine. It's very sweet, be careful.
So this was actually printed when we were there in 2019. That's what, see, 26 September 2019. So we were in that museum. We have a photo of us in there printing this. So thanks for getting it back.
All right. And now it is my honor to introduce Simone Morrison and Henry Pickett.
Hi, my name is Simone Morrison. I go to Foothill Middle School, and I went to Noceto, Italy. I am so lucky to have gotten the opportunity to go to Italy. At first, I was really nervous and scared to be away from home for so long. But that week, I had so much fun meeting new people, trying new foods, and visiting new places. One of my favorite memories was getting to go to the park with everyone because it was so amazing how they knew everyone in their town. It was fun going from house to house and biking around on those days to get gelato and play games in the park. It wasn't until that last night when we were all crying because we had to leave that I really realized how much I loved Italy and all the memories I had made. That is why I chose this picture that was taken on our last day in Italy at the farewell dinner.
Hi, my name is Henry Pickett, and I was an ambassador to Noceto, Italy from Walnut Creek Intermediate. The most fun experience of our trip was Rome. We went to Rome on Tuesday, 4 days after arriving in Noceto. It was super fun because we got to get a look at trains in Europe on how they differed from trains back here. Another factor that made Rome the best part of the trip was all the history packed in the city. There was so much architecture that was there for thousands of years. It was super exciting learning about all of them from the presentations our Italian brothers/sisters had ready for us. For me, and my host family especially, this was an important experience, beyond once in a lifetime. I was lucky enough to be paired with the son of the current mayor of Noceto, and this made my experience even more exciting. I chose this photo because it really captures how we've connected so quickly, as this was taken on Sunday, just a couple days after we arrived. It shows us all grouped together and smiling after a joyful day together.
Hi, my name is Ella Abbott, and I attend North Creek Academy. I chose this picture because I really enjoyed getting to go to my exchange sister's volleyball practice. It was a lot of fun to get to meet all of her friends from volleyball and just get to really experience what an actual day-to-day life, what she does in her day-to-day life. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Santiago Arguelles. I go to WCI Middle School and I travel to Noceto, Italy. I chose this photo because it really captures how I got to really connect and talk to all the students that attended that middle school in Italy.
Hi, I'm Elle Berry. I go to Escuela Bilingüe Internacional, and I went to Noceto, Italy. And I chose this photo because it was one of my favorite days. We went to Rome, and I feel like I learned a lot that day. I feel like I learned a lot of history, and I saw a lot of amazing structures that I'd never seen before. So it just really changed my perspective on like Europe. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Scarlett Jenkins, and I go to Tice Creek School. I went to Noceto, Italy, and my favorite memory was when we all got together the very last night and hung out, both Italians and Americans. We were bonding a lot, and I felt like we were all family. We got to know each other, and I loved that night because it was really sweet. When everybody got so upset, we realized we were going to leave. And it was just really nice. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kasten Klein, and I go to WCI. I went to Noceto, Italy, and my favorite memory or picture was this one. I thought it was so heartwarming and so cool that we all bonded and connected over such a short period of time, even though there was such a significant language barrier.
Hi, my name is Sydney Pirtle. I go to Foothill Middle School, and I chose this photo because it shows that we really got to bond as a group, and it's also in front of the Duomo Church in Milan, which was my favorite place that we went to on the trip.
Hi, my name is Simone Valentini, and I attend Foothill Middle School. One of my favorite memories was riding our bikes to the park with the Italian kids and the other ambassadors. I chose this picture because it really shows a strong bond that we created and a friendship that will last a lifetime. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. It truly was an honor to be able to chaperone and be with these children. At the end of March, the students who generously hosted our students will be visiting Walnut Creek. We want to thank you in advance for all the efforts made on behalf of the city to welcome our visitors and show off our city. Thank you.
That the city clerk gave us so we could pass them on to the government and our host. Thank you.
I may be reaching out to some of you because in the next couple of weeks, I will be attending a Sister Cities International Conference outside of Shanghai, China, and my topic is youth and education. So this program will be the hit parade, on the hit parade of that event. So I look forward to bringing some photos with me. Thank you. Next on our agenda is, first of all, we're going to give the Youth Ambassador Program 5 minutes to get out of the chambers because they're going to a party. We wish we could go. While they're exiting the chambers and before we bring up the Youth Leadership Commission, if anyone is here for public comment on items not on the agenda, I have 2 cards at this point. If anyone else will wish to speak under public comment for items not on the agenda, if you could come forward or go to the back of the room and fill out a speaker card while we... And this would not be for the appeal hearing nor for consent calendar. No, we're not calling people up yet. I just wanted to make sure we have speaker cards for all of you. Good evening and welcome.
Hi, Council. Thank you for having us today. So we are the Walnut Creek Youth Leadership Commission, and we're here today to introduce you to our 2023 and 2024 term commissioners. So without further ado, here's our commission. Thank you. My name is Ella Copper. This is my 3rd year on the commission. I'm a current senior at Northgate, and throughout my past few years, I've really got to see the commission evolve through different projects, and I'm really excited to continue our old projects and also start new ones. So thank you for having us today.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Julia Chow, and I'm currently a freshman here at Northgate High School. And I'm really excited because this is my first year serving the Walnut Creek Leadership Youth Commission. And I'm really looking forward to the experiences that I'll make with everyone. And I'm also really happy to get to work with everyone, to work on projects that will benefit our community and environment that we live in. So I'm really looking forward to this wonderful year. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ari Ryak. I am currently a junior at Los Lomas High School, and this will be my first year on the Youth Commission. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity to enact change in my community and give a voice to the youth. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Anna Sofia Ivanova, and I am a freshman at Los Lomas High School and a newly appointed youth commissioner. I am very excited to be here tonight, so thank you to everyone for having us. I hope to aid in empowering youth voices in our community during my time on the commission, and I look forward to working with the commissioners and the council. Thank you.
Hello, council members, as well as the general public. My name is Adam Tarr. I am a senior from Los Lomas High School, and this will be my first year on the Youth Commission. I'm really excited to bring both the youth perspective and my own perspective, which I've gathered over my entire life, to the city so that we can work on discussions, city projects, and city decision making. Thank you for having us.
Hello, my name is Maseo Tong, and I'll be a junior at Los Lomas. This is my 2nd year on the commission, and I'm looking forward to working on our commission projects and positively impacting our community.
Hello, I'm Gaith Khorshid, and this is my 2nd year on the commission, and I'm also a senior at Los Lomas High School, and I'm excited to get to know all our new youth commissioners and continue working on all our wonderful projects.
Hi, my name is Keaton Petracco. I'm a sophomore at Los Lomas High School. This is my first year on the Youth Commission, and I'm excited for the opportunity to change my city and get the youth more involved in our city.
Hello. Hello, I'm Ethan Kim. I'm a senior at Los Lomas High School, and this will be my first year on the Youth Commission. I look forward to engaging the youth in our city through many youth projects, especially those in astronomy, during my tenure as Youth Commissioner. Thank you.
Hello, City Council members. My name is William Montgomery. I'm currently a senior at the Corey Lane High School. This is now my first year on the Youth Leadership Commission. In my service on the Commission, I'm looking forward in particular to involving the youth of the city in further in city business through collaborations with other organizations like the Boy Scouts, in which I'm very active. I'm very looking forward to it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Armen Jamgachian. I'm a senior at Los Lomas High School, and this will be my first year on the Youth Commission. I look forward to keep progressing on the projects that the Youth Commission is currently working on and starting new projects concerning the climate. Thank you.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Melissa Adetepe, and I'm a junior at Akalani's High School. And during my first year as a youth commissioner, I want to engage with my community and familiarize myself with all the community members and make a change for the better, specifically focusing on launching new initiatives and projects with my amazing team. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Arjun Krishnan. I'm a senior at Camp Alindo High School. This is my second year on the commission. Last year we worked on some exciting projects and I learned a lot, and I'm excited to continue that this year with the new commission. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aaron. Before I get into the rest of my introduction, I think a little background on the Youth Leadership Commission might be helpful. So we're a group of 15 youth from Walnut Creek who come up with a few different projects every year, and we work on those projects in an attempt to improve Walnut Creek. So I'm currently a sophomore at Head Royce, and this is my second year on the commission. Last year, I really enjoyed learning a little bit more about my city government and some of the people that work in government. This year, I'm looking forward to working on our new projects with the new members of our commission. Thank you.
Did all of you have an opportunity to introduce yourselves? Well, first of all, congratulations on your appointment to the Youth Commission, Youth Leadership Commission, and thank you for being willing to invest your time and talent in helping to make our community a better place, as well as to help make it a better place for youth like you. So thank you very, very much. We look forward to working with you and getting to know you better as the year progresses. And have a good evening, and thank you for being here. Item number 2 on our agenda is the consent calendar. We have 7 items on the consent calendar this evening. Do any members of the council wish to pull an item from the consent calendar? I see none. Does any member of the public wish to speak to an item on the consent calendar? I will entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve the consent calendar items A through F. G.
Second.
And does that include any changes that were presented at the dais? I think the minutes had a
There's
correction.
one, yes, there's one for the city minutes, so yes, including all amendments.
Second.
Thank you. Would the city clerk please take the roll call vote?
Mayor Pro Tem Haskew.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilk.
Aye.
Councilmember Darling.
Aye.
Councilmember Francois.
Aye.
Mayor Silva.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Item number 3 on the agenda is public communications on items that are not on the agenda this evening. This portion of the meeting is reserved for comments on items that are not on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the council cannot act on these items raised during public communications, but we may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed, request clarification, or refer the item to staff. If you wish to speak under this item, please come forward now. I have a card from David Harder, who will take first, and Pete Bennett, who will take second. You will be, we will allocate up to 30 minutes, starting at, this is 6:35, for communication on items not on the agenda. Mr. Harder, you'll be first. You have up to 2 minutes, and we'll give you a minute to get yourself. Anyone else besides Mr. Harder and Mr. Bennett wish to speak to us on items not on the agenda tonight?
Just a procedural question, if I may, before I start. I provided a graphic And I presume that you have a copy, but it's not projectable.
We all have a copy. Thank you, Mr. Harder.
Okay, thank you. Madam Mayor and honorable members of this council, my name is David Harder, and I reside at...
Could you speak a little louder into the microphone? I don't think
Sorry. My name is David Harder, and I reside at 1584 Geary Road in Walnut Creek. My purpose this evening is to present an aquatic center layout that preserves aquatics programs, maintains safe access, and saves money. 3 alternative proposals were presented at last Wednesday's open house, plus the city's proposal. Unfortunately, all 4 proposals share a common flaw: dangerous street access and street crossing. The separate aquatic center shown on the attached graphic maintains safe access from the parking lot. The existing deep pool remains, saving money. Freed space south of the community center would allow less pond fill, also saving money. What I've done is I took the existing aquatic center and just pivoted around the deep pool. Plenty of work to do to make it a reality. But I have 2 final thoughts. First, the separate centers have independent parking access. 2 large events at the same time will have minimal conflict. Second, the city should contract directly with Aquatic Designs for construction documents. Over the last 30 years, they have received over 140 awards for their pool projects, 140. They know their business, and why put a third party in the middle? Thank you for your time and attention.
You're referring to the architect?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for comments. Mr. Bennett, you're up next, please.
Hi. Everybody knows me. I've spoken here about 50 times. My name is Pete Bennett. I have a bad story, and the city council knows it. I've been beaten up in Walnut Creek. I've been arrested, detained. I've had my cars towed away. My family's been murdered. My roommate from Walnut Creek is dead. My other roommate from Walnut Creek is dead. My friend used to work here in Walnut Creek. He was murdered in 2002. One of my employees was killed. His sister was killed with Officer Starzik. It's very bad. Mr. Buckshire, could you ask the city attorney if the city of Walnut Creek is supposed to protect a citizen that's going through things that I'm going through? Is 5 beatings enough for you?
Mr. Bennett, you need to direct your comments to the city council.
Okay.
Toward me. Thank you.
Mayor Silva, would you ask the city manager to ask the city attorney whether or not the city has an obligation to protect me? Because I get death threats every day. In fact, I just got 10 of them while sitting here in this room, being stalked by somebody. Would you like to pay attention to the fact that I'm still alive? That I've almost been strangled to death in the library? That I've been beaten on Locust Street? And I've been beaten on Sierra Drive? And that man was murdered in Concord 3 days after the district attorney resigned, who I've known for 30 years, who investigated the murder of my friend in 1988. That's how bad it is. Murders everywhere. And I have a role in 9/11 that's bigger than anybody knows about, and I'm going to start to share it on walnutcreekpolice.com because I'm sick of this. My life is important to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer Coe, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Coe. I'm the resident of Walnut Creek. Yeah, and today I'm come here. I want to introduce you the new nonprofit organization that is a Taiwanese American Culture Center of East Bay. Actually, we kind of we begin this this organization since last year, and then our main purpose, the most important mission is we want to promote Taiwanese culture and make a deep connection with the local community here. So, currently, one of our biggest project is we are going to build a brand new community center in Walnut Creek. So this is a this is a concert, the fundraising kind of introduce what this community center will be. So in this concert, we will provide you the more information about this center, and we will promote the Taiwanese culture, Taiwanese music in this concert. And then so I think not only to build a building, but we also try to cooperate with the Taiwanese government, especially the Department of Education. So we will provide the good quality, like a culture learning, language learning in Walnut Creek. So I hope everyone can, if you're interested in that, and I hope we will. I'm still thinking about to design some program we can offer the kind of a local school if they want their kids to explore the different culture. Like myself is my specialty is in the music appreciation. So if anyone interested in that and want to know more about Taiwan, we are so happy to provide everything that we can do. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting. We look forward to hearing more about this. Any other members of the public wish to speak to us this evening on items not on our agenda? Then I will close the public forum and go next to council and staff announcements, reports on activities, or requests. And we're going to stay focused tonight on our activities on behalf of the council that we have been doing, which are considered the Assembly Bill 1234 activities. Mayor Pro Tem, could I call on you first?
You surely may. I'm going to start with the fact that I co-chair the Contra Costa Mayors Conference, and we had a meeting, and I've learned a lot about BART. They encouraged all of us to take advantage of all the really wonderful new things that they're doing. I'm with the mayor on the Arts Alliance Task Force, and we did a little analysis about how we did for arts in August and searched for new ideas about attracting people downtown. On Broadway doesn't count.
No.
I met with the Transportation Public Works lobbyist from Cal Cities, and we talked about items that we think we would like the state level people to hear about so that we can get support for our programs. I was at Innovate 680, which is a review of the happenings for the improvements at Highway 680, and we got a report about a system that will coordinate not only what happens on 680, but also with the traffic within the feeder cities and the roads. Transpac was a review of the entities that we support with our Measure J money for reviews such as hang on, let my brain catch up with my mouth, or vice versa. A review of the programs that we have that help the elderly and the infirm. I went to the Accessible Transportation Coordinating Committee, and we reviewed the record of the elderly, and there is a special new program in San Pablo, one seat, one ride, so it's pick up here and get you to the wherever you're going in, if you're appropriately impaired, get you to wherever you're going in the county. Walnut Creek downtown had an Oktoberfest, and I volunteered Friday for that community service day. I last year I sewed and I had poked fingers because I was sewing. This year I burned my fingers because I was fluffing petticoats in the thing. And then finally I did farmers market. This is my reminder that almost every Sunday at the farmers market, one of us is there to bring your things, and I remind people that my hours are strictly 10 to noon. So if you want to get me and I'm there next Sunday, remember the hours are 10 to noon. And I really like pleasant conversation.
Councilmember Darling. Thank you. A couple of us attended, Supervisor Ken Carlson opened his new office, so we had a nice open house at his new office. I got to see his grandfather's desk in there, and it was pretty cool. We did it on Broadway, and I think we all did that, but I told we not talked about that. For Community Service Day, I made my husband come with me to help paint the fence at Civic Park, and it was quite the task. We all got it done, and the good thing about doing that job was that it's right next to Oktoberfest, so we went over there and begged the nice lady with the bratwursts to hurry up and cook them and sell them some for lunch. With the mayor, I attended the groundbreaking for Hope Solutions. It's 6 cottages over at Grace Presbyterian. The estimated construction time, the permitting time on that project has been very long. The way they're planning on building those cottages, they are anticipating 8 weeks construction because it's a very modularized construction. The building industry is donating their workers to help build the units offsite and bring them in. So that's going to be an exciting project to follow and see how it works and how it comes to life. We also, the Episcopalian bishop came and blessed the Trinity Center. It was his first chance to be there, and it was a great chance for all the folks that work on Trinity Center to come together and celebrate what has been a very successful effort to help the homeless in our city. The Power Association of California, I'm a member of that as part of my commitment to MCE, and they had a briefing on the past legislative session and the priorities for next year. And the priorities in the energy world are really going to be trying to find ways to keep the costs under control, to look at modernizing the grid, and to how the community choice aggregates like MCE, which sell power as a nonprofit to all of us, can continue to work with the investor-owned utilities in a way that keeps the lights on and keeps everything going in California. And that covers everything from Diablo Canyon to spitting in the wind. So that was my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilk.
Thank you. Well, last week I was at the American Public Transportation Association convention. It's the North American one. It's every 3 years, and it was in Orlando. And I went as a member of County Connections Board of Directors and got a chance to see some of the new innovations that are coming out that we can start looking forward to seeing on our streets and in the streets in the region. We got a tour of the hydrogen fuel cell buses manufacturing companies, and we already had voted on that at County Connection to start moving toward completely clean energy on all of our new buses. And so we can look forward to County Connection having a hydrogen fuel bus, most likely starting in 2026. So we saw what these look like. These are going to be terrific, and more on that, I guess, in a few years. There was also some of the innovations that were highlighted at the conference were BART's innovation of transit ambassadors and crisis intervention specialists and admin supervisors that go through cars was actually named one of the most innovations of the conference, just of ways to deal with issues prior to them becoming criminal activities. And so kind of seemed to me something that was obvious when we heard about this here, but evidently this is fairly new to the conference and people in the country. So they were proud to get that honor. I also was able to see 3D printing for prototypes, which typically are used for old parts that are hard to find. So a lot of the buses that are out there, maybe many years old, they start to wear out, they're at the new fleet of buses and they can't find those parts anymore. So now these companies that are out there they manufacture these 3D products for that you just can't find anywhere. So that to me was just fascinating that we can start to do that. As Councilmember Darling mentioned, we all went to On Broadway, and as the liaison to the DRAA, it was reported that over $600,000 in fundraising before costs came from the On Broadway event. So obviously there's going to be costs that come out after that, but it was extremely successful. I had a meeting with our housing committee with Mayor Silva today, discussing a proposal to review the process, criteria, and evaluation for affordable housing funding requests. That will be coming to council for review and discussion in the next few weeks. Councilmember Francois and I spoke to a few government classes at Las Lomas yesterday regarding local government and how does local government fit in with federal government and state government. We've done this now for about 4 years, and always great to see, and great to see the kind of engagement from the students. I also went to Northgate High School last night. It was a school day for me. And at Northgate, they had a Harvey Milk commemoration plaque for the 1978 Prop 6 debate that actually happened at Northgate. That was a proposition that sought to prevent gay or lesbian teachers being hired in public schools, and it lost. And so now Stuart Milk, his nephew, was the primary speaker last night, and now there's a plaque when you first walk into the gym. So it had about 200 people in attendance there. And I also want to mention that last week, as we know, Israel suffered a horrendous attack by Hamas. I'm going
to ask you to, we can save that till the end. If you would like to make a public comment from the dais, but that's not business.
Mayor, I'm the first Jewish elected council member in the history of Walnut Creek, and are you going to prevent me from talking about the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust?
I'm going to invite you to speak to the public dais and speak from there.
Right now?
Yes.
I'm happy to do that. I think this is highly unusual, but I will follow it.
It is not an item on our agenda.
We talk about things that aren't on our agenda all the time, Mayor. Respectfully, we talk about it all the time. The most horrendous attack on Jews since the history of World War II occurred last week. When I visited Israel in March with the Bay Area Network of Jewish Elected Officials delegation, we visited Kibbutz Kfar Aza on the border of Gaza. We met people, and it was a peaceful community with young families. Kfar Aza was the site of one of the worst hit casualties and kidnappings in the Hamas attack. It's hard to fathom. People that we met are no longer. Many in the Jewish community here are worried and upset, and many have family and friends in Israel. Reach out to your Jewish friends here and abroad. Ask how they're doing. They will appreciate it. I've appreciated it. I've heard from people I haven't heard from in years asking how I'm doing. With anti-Semitism on the rise in America, which we've unfortunately even witnessed in our own city council meetings, we pray for the safety and for the safe return of those who were kidnapped and are now hostages. This horrific violence is heartbreaking. And with the response by Israel, we know there'll be more casualties, many more casualties in the days and weeks ahead. Innocent mothers, fathers, children, and grandparents in Gaza and in Israel will become victims and suffer great loss. To break this never-ending cycle of violence, I hope that we can teach our children and our grandchildren to seek to understand one another. As we've always seen, hate leads to violence, and violence leads to unbearable pain and suffering. Here's to wishing our younger generations a more peaceful future.
Councilmember Francois.
Thank you, Mayor. I, with all my colleagues, attended on Broadway, as did the city attorney and city manager. Thank you for the support. I'm glad to hear that it was such a successful event. I was at Community Service Day last Saturday out at Heather Farm, spreading bark material and landscape cover, which is seems to be my go-to job on Community Service Day, and I enjoy it. And I wanted to thank especially Boys Team Charity and the Aquanuts for showing up. And then after I was at Heather Farm, I went to one of our local Safeways, and I want to thank the Rotary for volunteering there to collect food for the Contra Costa Food Bank. Let's see. Councilmember Wilk talked about attending the government class, and I just want to thank we had an opportunity to meet the new principal at Los Lomas too, Heather Thorner, and we had a good exchange with her. She identified a few issues, some traffic related, some public safety related, opportunities to be more involved in the town, and I just wanted to thank Captain Brown. I wanted to thank Smadar Boardman and also Kathy Hemingway, who I think, you know, within maybe a half hour of Councilmember Wilk sending the email, each of you reached out directly to the principal, and we appreciate you doing that and creating that strong partnership with our local schools. I will have a chamber board meeting this Thursday, so I will report on that at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. On that same note, at Las Lomas last Wednesday evening, I want to thank the police department for their participation in a panel on gun safety and how to manage and avoid gun violence in our local schools. And this was at Las Lomas High School and featured the superintendent of the district, the principal at Las Lomas, the superintendent of the Walnut Creek School District, and administrators from there, as well as Chief Jamie Knox. And I got to be a part of it as well. And I think it was very informative for the 60 to 75 people that were there. And I want to thank the police department again for their participation. I want to congratulate the diversity organizations in Rossmore. They had their third annual diversity festival last week, and it was well attended by more than 1,000 Rossmore residents. And it's really a testament to what we can do when we work together. I want to thank the more than 1,000 people who participated in a community service day this last Saturday. We were all over the community in 34, 35 different projects, and I really want to also thank the city employees in Public Works and Arts and Recreation for your commitment to helping us organize projects that the community could really get behind, whether it was painting fences like Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn, or spreading bark, or making crafts, or helping fluff the petticoats for a Christmas carol that's coming up at the Lesher Center. So thank you to the city staff for helping us to do that. And I will now go back to the city manager and city attorney to see if you have any reports.
Madam Mayor, there's no reportable closed session items this evening.
Just one update this evening, Dan Buckshire, city manager. Last Wednesday was the first of our community outreach events related to the design of the new aquatics and community center that's planned for Heather Farm Park. It was a couple hours. We did have a large turnout with a couple hundred folks, and did just want to highlight this is the very beginning of the process. We have several other pop-up events in which all community members are welcome. Those are being blasted out everywhere through social media, our website, and otherwise. And then we'll also be meeting with specific interest groups for their very detailed feedback as well. So just wanted to highlight that that process is now underway. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is a public hearing. This is an appeal of the Planning Commission's decision to modify the conditional use permit for Spoontonic Lounge, which is located at 2580 North Main Street. We will begin the hearing with a presentation by staff.
Good evening, council members. My name is Kimia Mahalati. I'm an attorney at Myers-Nave. I've been assisting staff in PD with the matter before us. I thought I'd just give some opening introductory remarks. So we're here tonight to consider the appeal filed by the business owners of Spoontonic Lounge and their request that the City Council overturns the Planning Commission's decision from its public meeting on August 24th, where the Planning Commission made specific findings that Spoontonic, as operated, constitutes a public nuisance and is in violation of the deemed approved performance standards and conditions of approval in their conditional use permit. I wanted to quickly clarify that aside from the first condition, which was to change the hours of operation from 2 a.m. daily to 11:30 p.m. cease service and sales, and 12 a.m. closing daily. The other conditions that are listed on the draft resolution before you tonight, those are not in contention, and these are conditions that are already included on any CUP for alcohol selling establishment. So just wanted to clarify that quickly. Their main contention, as I stated, is on the proposed earlier closing time. And according to the appellant's notice of appeal, they'll be requesting that the City Council deny the Planning Commission's decision to modify the CUP to the extent that it does reflect an earlier closing time, or to stay the modification and reconsider the matter in 6 months in order to allow Spoontonic time to cure any violations. But staff believes, and the evidence shows, that Spoontonic has had ample time already. The city sent Spoontonic a notice of violation and notice of public hearing on August 10th. And I also want to note that Lieutenant Bruce Jower of the Walnut Creek Police Department has been in communications with Spoontonic Lounge since at least the fall of 2022. And has alerted them of the issues that they have been having since then, as evidenced by some of the letters that are in your packet this evening. So staff and I also met with the representatives from Spoontonic Lounge a few days before the August 24th Planning Commission hearing, where we had an opportunity to discuss our concerns with the business owners directly and encourage them to come up with a solid business plan that would bring them in conformance with the deemed approved standards and the conditions of their CUP. At the August 24th Planning Commission hearing, the Planning Commission also encouraged the representatives from Spoontonic to attend the community bar meetings and encourage them to work with staff and PD to cure their issues. It is our understanding that no such communications with the city have occurred, except for those of a practical nature having to do with their appeal. And they have also not once attended these community bar meetings, either before or after the August 24th Planning Commission hearing, to our understanding. So they've had ample opportunity to cure the issues that bring them before you today. And as the data before you shows, and as Chip Griffin and Lieutenant Jower will further describe for you shortly in their presentation, there continue to be problematic incidents since the date of the August 24th hearing. And I also want to note that Spoontonic has had more incidents of criminal activity and public nuisance compared to two similar nearby businesses, Retro Junkie and Masses combined, despite the fact that Retro Junkie has twice the maximum occupancy and Masses has 3 times the maximum occupancy as Spoontonic Lounge. And I'm highlighting that because despite arguments by Spoontonic representatives that their problems are a product of society at large and that an earlier closing time will simply be, kicking the can down the road, so to speak, the data shows that these issues have to do with the way that they've been operating. And the fact is that they've simply not been operating in conformance with their deemed approved standards and the conditions of their CUP. So after the City Council conducts this hearing, the city's code provides that the council may either reverse, affirm, or modify the August 24th Planning Commission decision or refer the matter back to the Planning Commission for further consideration. Staff maintains the position that there is evidence of nuisance activities that continue to occur at Spoontonic Lounge and recommends that the City Council adopt a resolution denying Spoontonic's appeal of the Planning Commission's action and affirm the decision to modify Spoontonic CUP to reflect a last call of 11:30 and a daily closing time of 12 a.m. So I'll now turn it over to Chip Griffin and Lieutenant Bruce Jower for their presentations, and the three of us are happy to answer questions as they come up or after we're finished presenting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Griffin, while you come up, I'm going to outline the structure of this hearing. The staff presentation is underway at this point. We started with the Assistant City Attorney, and it will involve you and other members of staff. Then we will open the public hearing after any questions that we might have of staff. Open the public hearing, and the appellant presentation will be up to 15 minutes, and at the end of which council may ask questions of the appellant. Then we will have public comment, public testimony. Currently, we allow up to 2 minutes for any individuals, not the appellant, wishing to address the council on this matter. If there is a speaker representing a bona fide group, that group may be allotted up to 10 minutes for an organized presentation in lieu of other members of the group speaking. At the end of the public comment period, the appellant will have up to 5 minutes for rebuttal. Then we will close the public hearing and bring it back to the council for deliberation. Thank you for indulging me.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. My name's Chip Griffin. I'm a principal planner with the Planning Division Community Development Department. And as Camille said, I'm here to continue the presentation for the Spoon-Tonic appeal. Let's see if I can get that to work. As stated, we're here to review the operation of Spoon-Tonic Lounge in conformance with their deemed approved, and also with the conditions of their CUP, take public testimony, make written findings that this operation does indeed constitute a public nuisance, and again adopt a resolution denying the appeal of the Planning Commission's decision, affirming a closing time of 12 a.m. with a stop service at 11:30. Just a little context here. The location of Spoon-Tonics is 2580 North Main. I'm a planner, so I put up the general plan, land use, and zoning. It's service commercial. It's located on the east side of North Main. These maps are oriented towards the north. And it's located on a lot that is between North Main and the 680 Caltrans corridor. The Spoon-Tonic, as you can see closer here, you can see the outline of the property in red. It's accessed from SOS Drive as shown by the yellow arrow. Spoon-Tonic has a rear access. It's in a lower portion of a split level building. The main frontage along North Main is Soror Indian Restaurant. The yellow arrow above shows the entrance to Spoon-Tonic. That is their main, possibly only public entrance. And you can see with their parking spaces down in the lower lot. Just a little background here for the business. And although there are two CUPs, for ease of reference, they are best characterized as one CUP with the two elements and are collectively referred to in your agenda report as the CUP. The conditions of approval set forth in the CUPs are still applicable. The deemed approved performance standards differ from the CUP conditions in that they are general in nature, can be applied to all alcoholic beverage establishments equally, and focus on nuisance and criminal activity that may be associated with the sales rather than the use. Existing establishments operating pursuant to a CUP like Spoon-Tonic continue to have to operate pursuant to the conditions of their CUP, as well as the deemed approved performance standards. Referring now to the last bullet, in August, the Planning Commission adopted Resolution 3933, which reduced their closing time as stated, and this is the subject of the appeal. At this hearing, at the hearing on August 24th, the Planning Commission was determined Spoon-Tonic constitutes a public nuisance. After hearing staff's recommendations to close at 11, which would be similar in nature to an administrative use permit allowance, the Planning Commission action was to find the operation is a nuisance and to increase the hours recommended by staff by 1 hour, thus the last call at 11:30 and a close of business at midnight. Spoon-Tonic then, of course, filed an appeal in a timely manner. The points of appeal can really be boiled down to three. One would be the city has insufficient basis to take that action and less restrictive alternatives could have been taken. Two, Spoon-Tonic needs more time for their current efforts to make a difference. And three, that the modification would infringe upon or violate their vested rights. An alcoholic beverage establishment shall retain its deemed approved status only if it conforms to all of the following deemed approved performance standards. We will take a look at the test for these standards in a minute after we discuss the police activity and violations that have occurred starting in 2021. And I'll introduce Lieutenant Jower to provide that information, then I'll return.
Good evening, Madam Mayor Silva and members of the City Council. I am Lieutenant Jower with the Police Department. I serve as the Sector 2 Watch Commander for the department, overseeing the area where Spoontonic Lounge is located. So I'd like to talk about the calls for service within the last 3 years, specifically between March 2021 through October 2023. What you see before you is a chart that on the left shows categories of crimes as it relates directly to calls for service at Spoontonic Lounge. In 2021, we had 12 calls for service. In 22, we had 20, and in 23, we had 11. So for the time period of 31 months, we've had 41 calls for service. 38 of these calls for service, which is significant, is after 11 p.m. So that's one reason why at the Planning Commission hearing we recommended that closing time at first be 11 p.m. When looking at this chart, in 2022 we've had 4 events that recovered 4 firearms. And in 23, we had 1 event that recovered 1 firearm. Excuse me, we had a total of 5 events, but in the total of the events, there was actually 7 firearms recovered. The reason why I mention this is because on the next slide, it describes more in detail the types of crime that occurred in each year, as you see on the slide. The 2021, you have 22, and then you have 23. I specifically would like to address 2023 regarding August 21st. The reason why I wanted to talk about this at the Planning Commission hearing, the management of Spoontonic Lounge made comments of increasing their security, making sure they did more sweeps of the parking lot to make sure during closing they've cleared the parking lots and made sure that their patrons and staff were safe during closing hours. Well, 3 days before the last hearing, the Planning Commission hearing on August 21st, Walnut Creek responded to an incident where we got a call of a missing person. The reporting party stated that the missing person was last seen at Spoontonic Lounge. So obviously getting this information, the police department reacted and started searching for this missing person. The missing person happened to be a young female and last called the reporting party from the inside of Spoontonic Lounge and stated that she was leaving the establishment. Moving forward, when we started the search and we started looking for this female, we actually found her. We found her passed out underneath a van by herself in the parking lot of Spoontonic Lounge. So the significance of this is that they said that they were doing increased sweeps, increasing their security, and this was 3 days before the hearing. This is actual evidence that at that time that was not the case. On that same call, when we located the female, we also located a second male in the same parking lot who was also passed out in his car. So I just want to touch upon that specific incident before the last public hearing. I'm going to skip a few slides to this slide. So this graph represents the calls for service data that I just previously explained to you regarding the 43 calls for service. When you look at the lines, and the blue line represents 2021, the 3 main categories, the 3 top categories for that year were fights, alcohol-related incidents, and narcotics calls. That year in July, we had a quadruple shooting which resulted in the death of 1 person. In that case, in their agenda report, there's more specifics on that state that the involved parties were actually patrons of Spoontonics prior to that shooting. They left, went into the parking lot, and that's when the shooting occurred. In 2022, you can see that the three categories, top categories, would be the fights, gun possession, and alcohol-related calls, represented by the orange line. 2022 was worse than 2021. It was just a bad recipe of things like another shooting could possibly happen. So I think we're lucky that nothing did, but that's just a bad mixture of calls that could have happened during that year. In 2003, represented by the gray line, the three main categories is alcohol-related calls, fights, and then all with one incident, you have a narcotics call, a gun possession call, and a domestic violence call. So how does Spoontonic Lounge compare with Retro Junkie and Massays? Well, calls for service total for the 3 years in Spoontonic Lounge was 43. For Retro Junkie, it was 69. For Massays, it was 6. When you look at that slide, please focus on the fights, the alcohol-related incidents, and the gun possession. As you can see, Spoontonic Lounge, as mentioned by City Attorney Camilla, is twice as small in capacity as Retro Junkie and 3 times as small in capacity as Massays, but yet they have had 15 fights compared to Retro Junkie's 10 and Massays 2. Alcohol-related incidents, Spoontonics had 11, Retro Junkie had 36, MSAs had 2. When it goes to gun possession, Spoontonics had 4 gun possession arrests, and the other 2 had 0. So that graph shows the comparison of calls of what I just described to you. And as mentioned before, the lower graph shows the number of calls per maximum capacity. So when you're looking at the maximum capacity with the number of calls, theoretically, a smaller establishment should have less incidences than a larger establishment when operating at maximum capacity. So that's what this slide represents as far as a comparison. And I'm going to go back a few slides, and I'm going to bring Chip back up here to conclude our presentation.
Now moving forward, let's see, do I have the right slide up here? I do not. Yes. The City Council in the appeal may use all of the evidence in the record and may use these standards, referred previously as tests for deemed approved, to decide whether the establishment has violated their deemed approved performance standards. The staff report includes an explanation of how they do not demonstrate compliance with the deemed approved performance standards. In addition to finding a violation of the deemed approved performance standards, the City Council may use additional consideration in making finding that the establishment is in violation of the CUP and their conditions of approval in the CUP, and we have listed these 2 relevant considerations here. The Planning Commission found on recommendation of staff, including Community Development, Police, and the City Attorney's Office, these findings for the City Council's consideration, as shown here. Due to the severity and long-term ongoing nature of the violations of the deemed approved performance standards and the CUP conditions of approval described in this report, and given that most of the serious criminal activity occurs after 11 p.m. Staff recommends that the City Council move to adopt the draft resolution denying the appeal and modifying Spoon Tonic's CUP by limiting the hours of operation to 12 a.m. 7 days a week, which would include ceasing the sale of alcoholic beverages at 11:30 on a daily basis, as well as imposing any other necessary and appropriate conditions on the operation of the business. This modification would allow Spoon Tonic to maintain their deemed approved status and their CUP as well to sell alcoholic beverages with just these added limitations. These two modifications would not affect Spoon Tonic's ability to have live music. And with that, myself, Lieutenant Jower, and Camille Malafi, we're here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much. Questions for staff? Councilmember Francois?
Thank you, Mayor. Let's see. I think most of mine are probably for Lieutenant Jower. So you had the comparative chart up there. You don't need to put it back up, but what kind of struck me, I guess, was the relatively few number of incidents for Massés. I think something like 6 over a similar period of time. Is that kind of within the range, the normal number of police incidents for a bar in the Walnut Creek area with similar operating hours as Spoon Tonic?
For Massey's size, that's actually below average. It's pretty low for an establishment with a occupancy of over 280 occupants. So, yeah, it's much lower. Okay.
And then I'm interested, and it's a big space, and it's not always fully occupied, and so that doesn't necessarily surprise me. Can you talk a little bit about the bar meetings that are conducted with the police department and the bar owners, and kind of what kind of issues are discussed there, and kind of what kind of positive things come out of that?
Yes, sir. So monthly, we have bar meetings with the owners of all the bars that encompass downtown, as well as those just outside of downtown, such as Retro Junkie, Massey's, and Spoon Tonics. Every month, the owners get together with a representative from the police department to discuss any type of issues revolving crimes, calls for service, security concerns, and just running ideas with owners and seeing how they could better provide safety to their staff and patrons. We also discuss, when I used to be the bar liaison, we would discuss recent events, sometimes the night before, sometimes within the week, and definitely trends that are happening within the bar community. The great part about these bar meetings is that all the owners, they network with each other, and they share ideas, and they're very open in helping each other out. During 2022 and most of 23 and 21, I was like the bar's liaison, and I attended all these meetings. And what I mentioned in the Planning Commission hearing, there is always your same group of owners, but there was also people that were never there. And I never saw any representation from Spoon Tonic Lounge during all my times going to a bar meeting.
And you had mentioned to them, or staff had mentioned to them, that as an opportunity and that they could have taken advantage of?
Yes. So during 2022, when most of my conversations I had with management with Spoon Tonic Lounge, I mentioned these bar meetings and how it would be beneficial to attend for the reasons I gave. But they never showed up. So, I mean, as well as when we had our Planning Commission hearing, the Planning Commission recommended for them to, after this hearing, to get a hold of us, reach out, and start attending these meetings. And there's been 2 meetings since, and once again, representation from Spoon Tonic Lounge had not showed up.
So, and, you know, I was looking at one of the attachments of the staff report. It was a supplemental report, I think, that you had prepared on the incidents. And these seem pretty serious to me. Firearms, over-serving of alcohol, fights, domestic violence, gun possession. Those are, I don't want to ask a leading question, but are those the typical types of incidents police is responding to at bars in Walnut Creek?
It happens, but that's not a typical response. If you were just compare just with the report that's before you, compare just to Retro Junkie and Massays, you can see they didn't have any. And as well, downtown bars, I haven't recalled any incidents where we've had any gun possessions or violent crimes recently at any other establishments that I know of downtown in the last year or so.
And then finally, and this one might be more for Chip or someone with some historical memory. I recall that we've dealt with a deemed approved operation before. I believe it was Krogan's.
Ms. Krogans.
And we had the same issue with kind of not complying with the performance standards. And do you recall what the closing time that we recommended for them was?
Well, I think that occasion is what where the deemed approved status or the deemed approved performance standards were born of. After that,
No.
I am not absolutely sure, but I think it was 11. I think it was the same. Back to the AUP, hours of operation.
Which was the staff's initial recommendation here in Planning Commission was a little more lenient and had a 12 a.m. close?
I can actually speak to that, Councilmember Francois. So Krogan's was in 2016. The deemed approved ordinance was passed in 2012. But the outcome was similar because that was an establishment that didn't need a CUP at the time that it was established, and so it was deemed approved at the time that that ordinance passed. And I believe that what the closing time ended up being was a stop service at 12 a.m. and a closing time of 12:30 a.m.
Okay.
And I think staff's initial recommendation was actually to revoke their deemed approved status altogether, which would have prohibited them from being able to serve alcohol at all.
That's helpful, and thank you for that memory. You weren't even here, so that's even more impressive. That they did not have a CUP either. They were just operating under deemed approved status.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
This establishment has been operating pursuant to a CUP since before the 2012 deemed approved ordinance, but they are still subject to those same deemed approved performance standards as all other alcohol beverage establishments are.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
I had no further questions at this time.
I just had a quick question. This might be a Chip question. It sounds in reading the staff report that there was a change in ownership. When did that occur?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
There was a 2001 CUP and then a 2009 CUP.
All right, I'll check with the applicant when they come up to talk. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay.
Thanks, Chip. I think this may be more for Lieutenant Jower, and then I'll probably have a couple for the appellant later. You're going to be up and down a lot, I think. We were receiving complaints about extensive littering at nearby businesses next to Spoon Tonic. We've had these that have come over the last year or two. Is that still occurring?
Present time, we have not had any recent complaints of it happening present time.
Okay. Have you noticed that when you or the police department go to Spoon Tonic following a call versus when you go to other establishments, you've mentioned Retro Junkie and Massays as examples, do you notice anything different between them? Is there more unruliness or drunkenness or or is it generally the same, just more?
Well, it's been a long time since I responded as an officer, but my recollection when I did is just generally the same, but more. It would be the best way to describe it.
Okay.
Because everything was contained inside, and then you had a packed parking lot. And when I talk about parking lot, there's 3 parking lots. Spontonic management would say that it's not theirs, but they actually use all their parking lots in the areas during the weekends. So it's just, in my recollection, it's just always very crowded. A lot of the activity during business hours would be inside, and what I remember is always responding during closing hours when patrons are being let out of the establishment at the end of the night.
So much fewer calls prior to midnight, let's say.
Yes, the calls, 86% of the calls are happening after 11, and more so after 12.
Okay. Do they have a metal detector entering the?
I don't remember. I want to say no.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll hear from the appellant on that.
Yes.
When police have gone, I see security at now pretty much any kind of a nighttime establishment. It might be at 1 or 2 people. Sometimes it's a lot more. In the opinion of the police department, do they have enough security guards relative to the amount of security guards at some of the other places, that like a Retro Junkie?
I would say comparative. I would say yes.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
I'm not even sure to whom to address this. Is there food service at Spoontronics?
I don't believe there is a kitchen, right?
Okay. How many people generally are in, it's maximum 90, are they operating only at maximum amount, or is it more close to 40 people is for an evening, late night? Do we have any kind of sense about?
I don't know of a survey of their patronage. Yeah.
So when we started to look into calls for service, we asked assistant from code enforcement. Code enforcement did look into Spoontonic Lounge to see if they are operating over capacity. They've conducted walkthroughs, and their walkthroughs concluded that they were not over capacity. So they were operating within capacity during their working hours.
My question, and I'm glad to hear that, but my question is, capacity is 90 people. Do they almost always have 90 people in there consuming, or are there hours when there's ebb and flow and folks attending, or?
I wouldn't know specifically.
Okay, so maybe the
Right.
owners will answer that. Thank you. I think that's all I have right now.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. We've compared Retro Junkie Masseuse and Spoontonic. Can you give me the hours of operation for Retro Junkie and Masseuse?
Masseuse, I believe they are serving under deemed approved. And are they 1 o'clock, Bruce? They are the later serving establishments in town. I
So they
think
could be
there's very few that operate
open until 2 a.m.
Yeah. I don't believe Retro Junkie can be open till 2, but I'm not absolutely positive.
It's not my hangout, so I can't tell you.
So I have that answer.
Okay, thank you, Lieutenant Jower.
So the hours of operation for Retro Junkie, alcohol service ends at 1:30, and the business close at 2. For Masseuse, alcohol service ends at 12:30, and business close at 1.
Okay. The data that you presented, if I just want to clarify, we're talking March through December of 2021, which would be 10 months. January through November of 2022, which I'm not sure what happened to December, but it's 11 months. And then January through, it says October 3rd. I'm going to count it as September because 3 days in October it's about 9 months. So the data that we're showing for 2023 is in fact data only for 9 months.
Yes.
The, when are the bar owner meetings?
It's usually during the week at around 12 o'clock. If I remember correctly, maybe on Wednesdays or Thursdays. It changes depending on availability of the bar owners, but the bar owners usually put out an email to Kathy Hemingway, and then Kathy Hemingway would advise everyone of the time, and then we would show up. But it's usually a Wednesday or a Thursday, mostly during lunchtime.
And so Kathy Hemingway from Walnut Creek Downtown is actually the communicator, even
Yes.
though the bars that we're talking about, Retro Junkie, Marseilles, and Spoon Tonic, are not in the Walnut Creek Downtown district.
I don't know if they are or not.
The so, okay. I think I've had my preliminary questions answered.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? We are now going to turn to the appellant. You have up to 15 minutes. The clock will be set at 15 minutes. This will be for any representative of the appellant to speak. So if you include others, they will be counted in the 15 minutes, and they won't be speaking, those individuals will not be speaking under public comment then. All right? Thank you.
May I approach?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Michael Biggs.
And what you have to do is talk when you're at the microphone,
Oh,
not talk
of
around
course.
the room, because otherwise the camera recording equipment doesn't pick up your voice.
Okay, how's that?
Thank you. Great.
I'm Michael Biggs. I'm the attorney for Spoon Tonic. Good evening, members of the City Council, Mayor, and staff. We're here to find solutions. We didn't have much time last August. My clients got served the notice and then had 10 days, and hired me 3 days before the Planning Commission. We were unable to gather information, a lot of stuff. So tonight we're going to do a good job, and we're going to do it in a really tight time frame. And we have a PowerPoint demonstration. And I want to ask, has anybody not had an opportunity to read our written appeal? Because if everybody's read that, then I'm not going to cover things in there and be redundant. Okay, I don't want to talk about the police statistics that much, or the crime problem that Walnut Creek unfortunately faces right now. I do want to say, very gently, politely, and respectfully, business should not be made to carry the cross of criminals. There's no business in Walnut Creek that would go along with that. But we, Spoon Tonic, my client, is a member of this community and is rising up to do what it can to get this problem toned down as much as they can. And that's what we're going to focus on in the PowerPoint presentation. Jeet will come forward, and Jazz, and then there's Daniel, who's going to help with would you please come up? Oh, okay, they'll do public comment. But what we want to do is show the council what they've been doing since then. Now, I don't know about this public meeting thing. Ajit was whispering in my ear that he didn't hear of it. I heard of it months ago, but we've been focused on the appeal. Moving forward, I'm sure they'll go to that. So here it is. And Jazz, if you come up, this is Jazz Alawala. He is the son.
How's it going?
Ajit, his father.
So, let me get this right. This is actually our property. It's not what Mr. Griffin told you guys, but it's upstairs. It's Surur Indian cuisine. Their parking lot is not my parking lot. I have no cameras there, no nothing. I can't. No security can go over there. I can't risk my security to go over there. But I can talk to him and like putting a camera up for like safety, but that's for future. And this is how we enter the entire location. And that's SOS Drive and the neighboring parking lot, which is the back parking lot of, sorry, I'm really nervous trying to fight for my livelihood right now. But it's Napa and Buck Stove. This is where my security, I have 5 security guards on the weekends, and 2 inside, 2 outside, 1's floating. And this is my property, and they stand right there. Where is it? This is their view of the entire parking lot, the bottom picture.
Now, I have a question. Were the security cameras there before?
Excuse me, you having a conversation with him is not
Okay.
being heard.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor.
Well, you don't need to apologize to me, but the public can't hear you, so.
Oh, but I can't ask the question of him and give this presentation jointly with him?
I think so, but you're running,
But what we could do is
let me check with the city attorney, because you're not
the-
putting him on
the-
a stand.
yeah.
The discussion between the two of them is part of the 15-minute presentation time.
Okay, and
So your clock is running.
I know.
Okay, thank you
So
very
in 2021, when some incidents arose, I was in contact with Lieutenant Jower most of the time, and I used to talk to him like 40 minutes. I talked to him like 40 minutes at a time, and he told me add more security cameras, which I did. And he told me get a metal detector. I got a metal detector. He told me to start charging a cover. I started charging a $10 cover. And he told me get more security guards. I added 2 more security guards. And he told me to stop selling Hennessy, change the price of Hennessy, change the music, play different type of music. So I told my DJ to play different type of music, to like top 100 or whatever they play on the radio. And still some incidents arose, but it's like we only call police assistance when we need it. And apparently, we call them way too many times. And I guess we were becoming a nuisance at that point.
According to them, we were becoming nuisance, but
Yeah.
we were not.
But we weren't.
Okay.
Okay. You just.
No, you're nervous.
I know. I am very nervous. Thanks, Dad.
Not able to
Yeah.
You can see that.
You carry on.
Okay. What Jazz wants to convey is he has not had his head stuck in the sand. He has been working proactively. And the lieutenant had spoken that they had had communication. The problem in a nutshell is the time span to effect positive change is too short. They have to do a transition, and it's a small business. They have to have cash flow. These small businesses sometimes can be month to month. So I'm going to have Jazz come back up in a minute here, and what we're going to do is we're going to focus on things that they've done since the Planning Commission hearing and things they're going to be doing in the future. And what they would like, respectfully, is they'd like time to implement change. They're going to take a financial beating. They already are. With having the DJ out. But they can't just change in a couple weeks or a month. This will maybe put them out of business because in this type of business, its nature is late night, not early. So Jazz, why don't you come back up here, please? And let's go right to the slide showing what you guys are doing now and where you guys are going in the future, because they want to work with the city. They're not here to fight. We do take issue with application of the police statistics. But right now, we don't want to address that. We want to find common ground. Where can we join this business and the city and meet the concerns of this city? Jazz, show them what you're going to do and what you've been doing, please. Right here.
So I added all those cameras for better view of my parking lot, the front, the patio, which I had built, and they're pretty good, like, visual cameras. And my
plan for change.
my plan for change is I already talked to this ANH Security. It's a private security company to getting an armed private security guard to patrol my parking lot. And
Excuse me, and they want a 6-month contract. One of the things that concerns Jazz and his father is if they sign the contract now and they're closing early, they may not have the cash flow to meet the terms of the contract. But they'll do this now. They'll put these kind of guards there. Go ahead.
they want at least 5 hours daily. So Friday and Saturday nights, 9:30 to 2:30 a.m. We're trying to ensure the atmosphere is more of a lounge, more of a speakeasy with specialty cocktails. Actually thinking of adding a couple pool tables and more TVs.
Look at the last one. Shift towards having an environment that is more attracted to sports and activity rather than dancing. We will accomplish this by having pool tables and more TVs. They're looking at changing their whole business model, trying to attract a different kind of temperament of patrons, okay? Now, most of the patrons are really good people. They're not criminals. And there's people that work here that are members of the community here who have children and they have jobs here. Some of them are here tonight. They all want to work together to solve this problem. We're not here to fight the city. We're here to appeal, but we're asking for more time to make this establishment run more in sync with the expectations of the city. Jazz, come back up.
So that is actually our plan. Would-
Okay.
I think
Is there
you could go.
anything? Okay. So, as I said, Spoon Tonic needs more time. And we do take issue with the application of the police statistics. And we're not in a court of law here. We can't do that. Nor do we want to be in a court of law. We just want to meet the city's concerns and effect positive change. And Jazz is well on his way to doing that. But if the conditional use permit for this type of business, which is distinctive business competences, late night, if it gets rolled back, they're going to lose customers to other establishments and that sort of thing. So again, just to reemphasize, the long and the short of it is Spoon Tonic wants to work with the city to fix the problems that the planning department and the police complain of. They just need more time. It's too short of a leash. Getting the notice to go to planning department, having 10 days, going in there, and that sort of thing. So we hope that you will consider what Jazz had to say and what I have to say as their representative, and I know you'll be fair and reasonable, and I'll leave it at that. And any questions I'm happy to take.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Councilmember Francois.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Biggs. Thank you for your team. And we understand the gravity of the situation. We understand that people's livelihoods and businesses are at risk. One thing that you continued to mention was the need for more time. And I want to push back on that a little bit, because we had a homicide happen outside your client's establishment in 2021. And then I'm looking at the information we have, and our police department first informed the owners of this situation a year ago in October 22. So why was that not enough time? That was kind of a full year. Kind of, they were put on notice. There wasn't a notice of violation. They could continue to operate without any restrictions. And I know some changes have been made, but we're still having issues. And so I want to ask, how come that wasn't enough time?
For the shooting, or when? The
There was
October?
a shooting
Yeah.
that happened in 2021. That's major. That's serious.
That was really
That should-
unfortunate. I was actually there that night. And it happened 40 yards away, 45 yards away. And my security did whatever they actually could. Those guys, they were kicked out of the bar, but the other group who shot the guy, he was never even inside the premises or inside the bar at all. You could see that in the police report, which I have, but the case was dismissed. Everything is, the guy's out free, and now you're bringing that up.
No, I want to focus my question a little more carefully, because what I heard.
But we did make changes.
What I heard the attorney say was that you don't have enough time.
Yeah.
This just got sprung on you in August with the notice of the Planning Commission hearing.
Yeah.
And that's not accurate, actually. You got a letter from the city police department. You got 3 letters, one last October, 12 months ago. You got a letter from the city.
I talked to him. I talked to him also.
Okay, so how come we're still having problems with your establishment? You're asking for more time.
But if you
and
look
I'm
at our
saying-
statistics.
Hold on, let me finish my question.
Okay.
You're asking for more time. I'm saying you've already had 12 months. How come there wasn't any improvement then?
But we did make improvements. We only had like 3 calls this year.
No, you've had 11.
And one of the calls was for a woman passed out under a car. I'm concerned
That
about.
was upstairs parking lot. My security, we closed early and we left the premises.
I'm concerned about the oversale of alcohol. What are you doing about that?
Oh, we cut people off. We tell them drink some water. There have been so many times that I've called Uber for people. We're making sure that no weapons are coming inside. We have metal detectors. We pat people down. We check everyone's ID. No underage person comes inside the bar.
So the woman who was found passed out 3 days before
We didn't
the
even- we
planning
didn't-
commission hearing, was she a patron of your bar?
Which one?
The woman who was passed out under a van that was found by the police?
We didn't even know, when she left or what was she doing underneath a
So was
van.
she a patron of Spoon Tonic?
Yes, she was.
Okay.
Was she? You were there. We were told she was there. I wasn't there that night. I could look at the cameras.
I think that's probably all my questions for now.
Do you have any questions?
Mr. Francois?
Do you have any questions?
In response to your question a little bit more, yes, there were those letters, but if you look into the written documents we provided, there was back and forth. It wasn't like the police were being ignored. That would be a fallacious premise. There was back and forth. It just was not to the police's satisfaction, apparently, but they want to do what the police want them to do. They just don't want to go out of business is all.
Well,
Councilmember Wilk, did you have a question?
I do, but if you want to finish up with your thought.
I want to, I just want to reiterate again that your client was given at least 12 months. An incident happened in 2021 that was pretty serious. So I would count that as the first warning that, hey, you need to take this pretty seriously. Something's wrong with this establishment. But a formal notice went out from the city 12 months ago. And from what I'm hearing from our police department and our staff is that there weren't really any effective, serious corrective measures taken. And now you're asking for more time. And I'm saying you've already been given a lifeline, a couple of lifelines already, and there haven't been any measurable steps taken to change the nature of the establishment.
Yes, Mr. Francois,
So
but
if you're asking for an additional extension, and I'm saying, what proof do we have that that's going to change anything, that things are going to operate in a better manner than they did with the 2 years of notice you had before?
the answer to your question is within Lieutenant Jower's materials. the crime has been going down. In fact, the shooting was in 2021. And if you take a close look at those crime statistics, that's what I'm talking about. You know, we're not in a court of law. I can't go to source documents here. But if you were to look at we're saying that the police are not applying the statistics objectively. Okay? A lot of these things in there are the result of regular police patrol operations. For example, most police officers will tell you they love to make traffic stops because they make a lot of felony arrests out of those. That's what keeps the streets and communities safe. It's traffic stops. And the Walnut Creek PD apparently have been doing a fantastic job with regard to what I can see, what we can see. They're doing the best they can. Look, granted, they could have done a better job in the past. Hindsight's 20/20, but they're here tonight with good heart and good faith to do what needs to be done to make this run better, and that's why they need more time. And they've shown you the things that they're going to be doing and are doing.
I appreciate that acknowledgement and the concession. I think that's fair, that they could be doing a much better job, I would say, than they have been. And that I have to say, though, that in looking at the appeal letter that was submitted, there were responses to each of the incidents. And to me, they read, trying to be somewhat objectively here, like excuses, like, nope, that wasn't us, that wasn't on our property, that wasn't our, how would we know? We didn't make the call. So how would you respond to that? That there seemed to be a lot of excuses being made versus owning up and saying, we didn't do a good enough job, we need to do a lot better.
When they're here tonight, and they were here meeting with the police, I was there 2 days before the hearing, and they put material on the table, that's not an excuse. And they've done things since then, okay? So, you know, no business can be perfect. And we live in a challenging time, and it takes a little time to adapt. Sometimes it takes time to think things out. Sometimes you don't arrive at the first right answer. But they're here, and they're in good faith with good heart to rise up to the city's complaints. They don't want that stuff either. And they've put a serious study on this, and you've seen what they want to do. They want to convert it from, how did you say that in your, into a lounge? Into a speakeasy, if you will. A different kind of tempo, a different kind of environment, a different kind of social scene. They're going to need time to do that. They can certify to the council now and do anything the city attorney would ask probably to show that they're doing these things in concrete, fashion, not just talk, if you will. They needed some help too, okay?
You've answered my question. I appreciate that.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Bates.
sir.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wilk.
Yep, thank you.
I will moderate the meeting. Councilmember Wilk, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I was a bartender in a previous life, so I'm familiar with some of how serving was requested by ownership of bartending. So I have a question. I'm not quite sure who would be answering this there, but are bartenders made aware that if they overserve customers and they go out and cause an accident, that the establishment as well as themselves can be held criminally liable?
Yes, they do.
Okay. You'd mentioned that during this one serious incident where a woman was passed out under a car after having been a patron in your establishment, that you weren't there that evening. How many nights a week on average and you and your father are both owners?
Yeah.
Who's the one that's on premise during the evening hour? Every night?
I'm usually there like 6 nights of the week.
And how?
I'm a single dad. My daughter is right there.
And how many nights a week are you open?
7 days a week.
Okay. Do you notice that there are fewer problems when you were there on site versus when you're not?
I was there when the shooting happened.
Understood. But do you notice in general that there are fewer problems when you are there in person versus when you're not?
It's about the same. Like when I'm not there, something happens. When I'm there, something happens.
You'd be one of the rare businesses that I've ever heard of that would say that it would be about the same.
But my security, I trust in them. My staff, they're amazing.
I understand.
Yeah.
I can make comments later, but that surprises me. Approximately what percentage of your alcohol sales after 11 o'clock versus prior to 11 o'clock?
I do have my financials. If you want to look at it, it's.
I can give you.
That's.
Should I give you those?
No. No, but. How many percentage?
Page 14.
Like, the whole night, we do.
He's our bartender.
But sure, but
No.
you've got the numbers.
Yeah.
Do you know what your percentage of alcohol sales are? Well, no,
can
just
you
tell me.
Can you please stay at the platform?
Okay.
Okay, it sounds like you're not quite sure.
We make about 5,000 on the weekends.
After 11 p.m. versus
like
before.
about 3. After 3,000.
You make more after 11 o'clock.
60%.
Okay, thank you. Is there a dress code?
Not yet.
Have you been asked about putting a dress code in?
Yes.
When were you asked?
I talked to when I talked to Lieutenant Jower.
And was
Well, I
that in
haven't-
August or a year
in
ago?
March.
Okay.
Like,
And you still haven't? Okay. You mentioned there's a metal detector. How long has that been in place?
for a year and a half.
And it sounds like there's been guns that have been recovered in the last year and a half.
It was at traffic stops. All the guns that Lieutenant Jower listed on the report, they're all made in traffic stops.
They were not found on the premises,
No.
either inside or outside? Lieutenant Jower would, if it's not correct, come up. If it is correct, you can just nod. Sure.
So it's not-
So guns were recovered from traffic stops. The drivers of those cars were patrons of Spoontonic Lounge. During those days on the traffic stops, we were operating an undercover operation with outside agencies to identify those who are coming out of Spoontonic Lounge that are possibly armed through surveillance.
Oh, okay. Is it possible that they had the guns in the car and they left them in the car when they went inside, or would your investigation show that they actually had them inside?
They most likely had them in the cars, but on some instances through surveillance in the parking lot when trunks were open, those patrons leaving, that's when we would confirm a possible firearm, and then we would call it in and a traffic stop would be conducted. This was an organized operation that we conducted on 5 different occasions.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Just one or two more questions. Do all of your security guards have license-issued guard cards? They are officially licensed, issued guard cards.
I believe so. No? Yeah. Yes, I do.
But you're not aware.
Yes, I do.
You're getting it verified, but you're not sure, and you're the owner.
I don't know if it's if they're expired or not. But when I
Okay.
hired him long time ago,
All right.
they were.
Okay. I was on a police ride-along about a year ago when we went to Spoontonic.
I think I met you.
I think I met you briefly. I thought it was fairly dim outside in the front. I just kind of noticed that it was dimmer compared to some of the other establishments I'd seen. Have you put brighter lights in the last year?
Yes.
It's-
Even the Walnut Creek City, they put street lights after the shooting that happened.
Okay.
And my neighboring businesses, Napa and Buck Stove, they put floodlights, they put cameras, so to deter all the criminal activity from happening.
Okay. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, how likely is it that you would be able to maintain the level of business if you changed to speakeasy, which actually brings pictures of the 1920s, which is not, not a good thing at all.
Not like that.
But you know, if you change the tenor of the bar aura, how likely is it that you'll have an attraction to enough people to justify it?
I think having like really good cocktails and good vibe, good atmosphere, I think we can do it.
So I'd like some additional data. Did you have any additional questions? So can you go back to from 11 to, we'll say, 11 p.m. to 1:30, because your last call is at 1:30, so it's a 2.5 hour period. Can you give me an hour by hour of the amount of your sales on a day's sales?
On a daily sales? Like,
So if it's 5,000 in a day and you're 3,000 after 11, how much are you after 12?
after
And the
12
Planning
is-
Commission asked this question, so
After-
the
after-
answer should be at your fingertips.
After 12, it's like we do 60% of our
60%
Yeah.
of the 3,000, or
Yeah.
so the later it gets, the more you're selling.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your business plan related. First of all, the Planning Commission directed you to prepare a business plan. Have you prepared a business plan?
My plan is
That's a yes or no question. No.
my plan is I told you what my plan for change.
You're telling us the plan. A business plan is a written document of how that outlines what you're going to do in your business, what you will generate in revenues, what you will incur in expenses. Fill in, am I? And it's a written document that would ordinarily be presented to someone to explain how you're going to achieve your goals. Have you written a business plan?
No, I have not.
Okay. Then how do you know, and I'm going to ask the Mayor Pro Tem's question again, how do you know that you will be able to basically maintain your business by changing your business if you haven't done an assessment of the feasibility of it?
I think putting like a pool table or a couple pool table, it's going to generate income regardless.
You're selling you're making most of your sales, not just after 11, but after 12. Is your customer base going to change? Is that mode of operation, that style of business, likely to be consistent with an 11 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. customer base?
I think changing the music, yeah, I would say that.
Also, during the Planning Commission meeting, you indicated you'd be basically shifting away from a DJ
Yeah.
to a different style of music that weekend afterward,
Mhm.
which would be August 26th and 27th. What did you do?
For the entire month of September, we didn't have a DJ. So our sales were super low because we didn't have a DJ, no dancing, no nothing. People came. They didn't want to stay, so they left. We deterred good amount of crowd. The crowd that Mr. Jauer was thinking that it was undesirable.
Okay. I think I've got my questions answered. Mayor Pro Tem?
So if most of your sales are after midnight to 1:30, that means all the people are probably drinking many drinks. Is what level of drinks per person get served?
If we see someone who's highly intoxicated, we don't serve them. We don't even let them inside the premises.
Okay, so the people who have been to other places
Yeah.
or stopped at a
Yeah.
Bev and More and guzzle.
If we see them stumbling and try to come into our establishment, we don't allow it.
Okay, what
Otherwise, it's going to be a liability.
You betcha. What kind of training do you put your service people through?
They've gone through the ABC. They're all ABC certified.
Okay, all right. I still, back to my original question, which is I'm really concerned if you make most of your sales between 12 and 1:30. And
It's a younger crowd. Younger crowd. They were attracted to having like a DJ.
I understand.
Yeah. So now that we're not gonna have a DJ, we're
Right,
just
they
gonna
don't want
have
to, they don't want to come, but I'm going back to, they're drinking a lot in an hour and a half. In order for you to have the most sales, there's either way more people in your establishment from 12 to 1:30, or the people who are there are drinking way too much alcohol way too fast.
90 people inside on the weekends.
So she made a comment, not a question, so we'll just let it
Okay.
go
I
at
was
that.
trying to explain my question.
Okay.
Okay. Was that a comment or a question?
No, I was trying to ensure that there was a question that you were answering. Okay. Let's open the public comment period.
Good idea.
We're now going to open the public comment period. Individuals are welcome to speak for up to 2 minutes, or if you are a bona fide representative of a group of individuals, you may have a time of up to 10 minutes. Then you can line up along the window wall there, and the timer is there. Please be sure to introduce yourself for the record.
Hi, my name is Dulcinea Vilvier, and I am a member of the Spoon-Tonic security team. I'm the only female security guard that Spoon-Tonic has because Jazz felt it important that he have a female security guard so that the female patrons that come in there feel more comfortable about being patted down because it's a security issue. We need to make sure that, you know, everybody's safe. So that's one of the things that he did. I'm also a single mom, and I have 2 kids, and this is my second job that I have to take care of my kids. And if we close at midnight, I come on at 11, so I'm out of a job, you know. Sorry. And this job has provided me the ability to take care of my kids, you know, and I just feel like we haven't been given the opportunity to show that we're more than willing to do whatever it takes. But closing us down at midnight, that it'll ultimately close the business down. He won't be able to survive it. We were talking about the alcohol consumption. The major majority of our revenue is from 11:30 to 1:30, and that's because people come in late. It's not because they're drinking a lot there. It's because they're coming in, they're filtering in. You know, they've gone to other places, whatever. They show up at our place. Anytime we see anybody who looks impaired, we do not allow them in. If they're impaired in the club, we escort them out. We don't want people being there overly intoxicated, causing problems for the Walnut Creek PD. That's not what we want. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Madeline McLean. I'm a part of Jazz's bar staff. So I heard a couple things that you guys mentioned, and one of the things that really stood out to me is this new business proposal that he has. From talking to our regulars and kind of seeing things over the year that I've been there, I think it's a great thing for us to have these pool tables, add more TVs, things like that. It's going to generate our customers to come and stay rather than come for a drink and leave and then come back. Another thing that stood out to me as well is when these clients come in at 11, 12 o'clock at night, usually they're out at another place or something like that. We are very, very aware of what's going on, but we do pay attention to those around. We cut people off, we give them water, we've ordered Ubers, we've watched them walk out. Now, where it comes to the problem that I've seen is some of these people, when we ask them to leave, will sit in the parking lot upstairs or move their car just a little bit down to where we cannot see them. It's to the point where we've tried multiple ways to remove them from the situation. This is why we have called, previous times to ask for help to remove this situation that's going on. We don't want these people to be hanging out in the parking lot. There's no ins and outs, so we are not allowing them to drink in their car or to have any opportunity to, do something that they're not supposed to do. We're trying to protect every patron in that bar, including ourselves. And this is probably one of the only establishments that I've worked at where I feel safe with my staff and with my owner. And I'm really, really happy to be a part of this team, and I would like to keep that if I can. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
My name's Glenn Pineda. I'm the lead security over at Spoon Tonic. So I got something written down here. As a small business in Walnut Creek, we only want to help benefit Walnut Creek, just like any other small business does. We are aware of the undesirable customers, and believe me, we don't want them more than you guys don't want them, because we're the ones who have to deal with them in person. It's just bad business taking them. My team and I are more than willing to work with Walnut Creek PD to help reduce and eliminate the problem, even if that means stricter house rules. With the restrictions laid upon us, it has put a major dent in our operation and our livelihoods as well. Our numbers are at an all-time low with very few customers at best, but we do see a golden opportunity in this opportunity to rebuild and bring it back to former glory, which was mainly locals and fellow industry workers. We only want to provide a safe place for people to have fun, have drinks, unwind, just as all the other bars have done for us as well. We also firmly believe that with what the media has told the public, it has reduced our numbers to the point that it has cleared the problem with the undesirable customers. If you let us continue to operate with the normal conditions we have now, we won't disappoint. We're already on a good path, and we will make sure it stays that way. I'll make sure on my end at least too, though, I'll go out of my way to do whatever it is I need to do. Anyways, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Additional speaker?
Good evening. My name is Melvin August. I've been a patron at Spoon Tonics for a few years now, quite a while. Mainly I was going there on karaoke nights because I love to sing karaoke. Became really good friends with Jazz and a lot of the people that are speaking tonight. And luckily, they lost their karaoke DJ, and Jazz asked me, "Hey, do you want to DJ karaoke?" And that was, I've never DJed a day in my life, but it was a way for me to kind of get out and stay out of trouble, and get away from home if I need to for a few hours, and host it. And it's been a blessing. It's been a lot of fun. And I know since the hearing in August, even my karaoke crowd no longer really exists, to the point where I've been doing karaoke for free. I told them I don't want $1, just because I enjoy it. That's what Spoon Tonic means to me. I understand those Fridays and Saturday crowds sometimes aren't necessarily the crowds or the atmosphere that I even enjoy. I do know that the bar, Jazz, the entire staff, is willing to do whatever. We've talked about it. We've had conversations. We're throwing around ideas. No one's written a business plan to change a business in few weeks where your entire model is going to change. So when we're talking about more time, I think that's what we're talking about is that crowd is gone. The time now is to reinvent ourselves. We have an opportunity to reinvent ourselves as a business, to be a part of the community here in Walnut Creek. And I think that's just what we're asking for. It's just an opportunity to reinvent ourselves, put our best foot forward. And then after that, we've had our opportunity. So thank you. That's my time.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please.
My name is Daniel Zumbo, longtime patron, and just wanted to reiterate some of the comments that were made. Known Jazz for a very long time. My older brother, when it was he turned 21, he was drinking age, he called that bar home. I have for quite some time myself too. And there are complexities. There's complexities with COVID. There's complexities with people being let back out of the house and trying to understand how to reintegrate in with the drinking scene and with the social aspects over the last couple of years too. And I think the city of Walnut Creek's had to deal with that. The city of Walnut Creek continues to have to deal with that, as we're all intimately aware of at other businesses and venues, whether that's in the retail sector or in the entertainment and social sector too. I think there is somewhat of a focus on Spoon Tonics, and I would challenge the council members to look at progress that has been made. I think it's easy to look at opportunities that I think are coming full circle with making new business plans and changes to be able to better serve the residents of this city. But it is a problem that doesn't just pertain to Spoon Tonics, and I think it is in the best interest of the city council to look at some potential issues that were brought forth in the appeal process with some disingenuous remarks as far as the data goes, as far as these police interactions, calls for service that are coming from the staff, whether it's deemed as calls for service as police doing regular police work by driving by and seeing something not on premise. So I would challenge and I hope in my heart of hearts that you do justice to the information that's provided in the appeal process as well. Really look at, obviously there are opportunities with creating a business plan, adjusting how to serve the patrons, but also the
Thank
data
you
that's
very
there.
much.
Thank you.
Are there any other speakers this evening?
My name's Paul Soria. I don't want to reiterate what went on in the last hearing, but there's the conditional use permit. I'm assuming all of you have seen them. The conditions haven't been met. The time has been given. After closing hours, cars get hit in the parking lot on SOS. There's urination, vomiting. I said all this last time, but I'm telling you again. It has happened, and at one point it was continuous. Every weekend, every Friday, Saturday, it would happen. You'd come there, pick up, we'll have to hose things down, piss, everything. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I know they can't be watching everything. I mean, just like the police can't be watching everything, but it happens. If things weren't as they were, then we wouldn't have this problem or any of these problems. So I get it. I get that they're trying to run a legitimate business, but what can you do about the surrounding properties? If my business was having my patrons going over to their business and peeing or vomiting or defecating, I mean, it's happened. Cars are going over retaining walls, dropping on upside down. It's happened once, and then the other one drove off. It went over the retaining wall. Just over the parking lot. I'm sure you guys know about it. I'm sure you guys know about it as well.
This is the first time I'm seeing.
Okay,
Twice.
let's
Twice it's happened where it's landed on upside down. I mean, it's crazy. After closing hours, I get it. They can't be monitoring everything. And I'm sure they don't want these people around, but nor do I. Because they're crazy. I mean, they're partying out there. The party continues outside, during and after their business hours and closing hours. So again, I know they can't be watching everything, but if the business wasn't there, we wouldn't have issues.
Thank you for taking the time. Any other speakers?
Madam Mayor, City Council. I'm actually here to speak on behalf of Spoontonic and also correct some things that were just said. Public defecation, urination, that is a big issue that we do have here in Walnut Creek. There is a big population of homeless folks, especially that actually pertain, that are next to the public storage that is right across the street. There has been like a squatty potty, many different things out there, and it's not just happening right there. It's happening all over. I mean, you take a look at what's going on in San Francisco. When it comes to the business and everything, putting the dress code in place on Friday, Saturday nights, I've been a patron of this place for well over 15 years, and the prior ownership actually did away with the dress code. And they used to be collared shirts on the weekends, no open-toed shoes. It was a great business model, and it could thrive again, especially that was the way it operated as a speakeasy and as a cocktail lounge. It will thrive. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Does anyone else wish to make public comment? Then I'm going to close the public hearing, bring it back. The appellant has 5 minutes for any comments you would like to add.
Well, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council and staff, you've heard from many voices. There's lots of issues. Jazz and his colleagues have expressed their intentions and many things they have done already. And there's more for them to do. But to cut their hours right at the beginning of the positive change that they're implementing would hurt them economically to where the business might be mortally wounded. And if that would be the case, then it could be said that the business is carrying the cross of the criminals, because ultimately we as individuals can't control the actions of other individuals unless they break the law and get arrested. And that's exactly what the police have been doing a great job doing. And there's a lot more work for them to do. There's a lot of challenges for the community to face. And Jazz and Spoontonic want to be a part of positive change. And we'd respectfully ask that you consider all of the information with the best ability you have and arrive at a fair result which will meet the needs of the community, that being the citizens and everybody that's part of the community here, as well as this business and the people who work there, who are also a part. They're sincere and mean business about cleaning things up. And they've shown you that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have one question for you, and I'll check with my other colleagues as well.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. We heard from a business owner that was in that area who talked about littering, defecation, urination. We'd gotten several mails and calls about this in the past. I'm curious if the business owner ever met with any of his nearby neighbors' businesses to discuss this.
It's Jazz will answer that.
Okay.
So Sarur Indian Cuisine, which is on top, every time anybody littered, he came and told me I swept the entire area. And I told my security to go upstairs and make sure there's no bottles or anything left behind. And same with Napa, same with Buckstove. They came and told me there's all this stuff, Even the Napa owner, he was like, somebody threw up here. I picked up a bucket of water and I washed it down.
So you've had open lines of communication with them. Okay.
But that gentleman over there, I don't know what he does. I don't know who he is. He never came up to me and told me anything.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That closes the appellant's portion of this hearing, and I am bringing it back to the council for deliberation. Do any council members have, well, here's what I'm going to do. I think we need a 10-minute break because we've been at this a number of hours. So we are going to take a break. It is 8:30. We will be back at 8:40. Good evening again, and welcome back to the October 23rd, 2020, the October 17th, 2023 meeting of the Walnut Creek City Council. I did have a couple of questions for Lieutenant Brown, if that would be all right, or, I'm sorry, Captain Brown or Captain Hibbs, or both of you.
Evening, Madam Mayor, council members. Andy
And
Brown.
I hear my brother, Sergeant Silva, might be able to answer this question. He's not really my brother, but we have the same last name. I'm curious about what issues related to homelessness that we have up on the North Main Street corridor in that area, SOS Drive. And can you address that, or should?
I can address that, and maybe Sergeant Silva has more information. In that area specifically, the homeless issue is not very extensive, if at all. There are encampments along the 680 corridor near Caltrans. That's not our property, but I know that Sergeant Silva and his team address those issues as well, but those are far away in distance from the Spontonic Lounge location.
Okay. And then we've heard a lot tonight about bar activity. Can you describe what we're experiencing as a community as a whole with bar activity? Because when we had established the deemed approved ordinance and policies in 2012, actually I think it took a couple of years to work our way through it, there was a lot of significant activity late night. How is it today, and how does what we see at Spoontonic compare, not just to Massey's and Retro Junkie, but to other bar activity in town?
Yeah, I can speak to when we went to the deemed approved process. At that time, to patrol the downtown required significant resources, officers on foot in teams of 2, 6 to 8 officers a night between 11 and 2 a.m. And that was the standard way to address the challenges that we face due to the over-serving, the intoxication, the level of fights. That was 10, 15 years ago now, and we don't need to deploy our resources that way, thankfully, because there's a lot of other things we'd rather be doing with our patrol officers, and that is patrolling the rest of the city. And so the deemed approved status, the deemed approved process requires all operators to comply with several standards. And when those organizations, those businesses don't comply with those standards, such as Spoontonic here, that brings us to this process. Luckily, we've only had to do this process once prior in recent years, and that was with Krogan's.
Any other questions for? Thank you very much, Captain Brown.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a question, or?
I did. I had a question for one of the attorneys in the room, and that is there a way to structure this, any agreement, so that there are certain built-in deadlines, operate this way for 6 months with no calls for service or some reasonable thing? If you get that, you can earn back a half an hour of operating time. And can you build a ladder so that, there's hope if you can comply, you can get it? Do you understand my question?
I do understand the question. Any change of a land use determination requires due process. And so in simple terms, that means it requires kind of a public hearing process, and it requires all of the interested parties to be able to have an opportunity to comment. And so if the council were to, for instance, affirm the Planning Commission's decision tonight, but you were to say that the city would reconsider the time constraints in 6 months or 1 year, you could do that, and you could direct staff to report back to you. But that would require this hearing process, and you may want that to go through the Planning Commission before it comes to the City Council again. So that's one way that the council could approach this issue. Alternatively, if the council wanted to modify what the Planning Commission recommended in some way, what the council has done sometimes is that you would modify it and then you schedule a further review of the item at a date certain in the future, and then you further consider it at that point. So the council really has both of those options, but understand because it's affecting the CUP process, that does require due process. It requires any interested party, be they in favor of Spoontonic or someone who's concerned about their operations, to be able to have an opportunity to speak.
Can I ask, just as follow-up, the due process would be subsequently?
Correct.
I mean, because it's already occurred here through
It has
this process.
occurred here, correct, Mayor, and it would be required were you to further change the timing considerations if that's what the council wanted to do at some point in the future, meaning the terms of the operations.
One more question.
Absolutely.
For Captain Brown. Actually, it might be for Captain Hibb, I'm not quite sure, but we'll find out in a minute. When there is a call for a police call that comes in late at night, midnight, 12:30, whatever it is, how many cars typically will respond to that?
I think it really will depend on what type of call you're referring to, but at a minimum, 2 officers will respond, so 2 separate vehicles.
Two vehicles.
If it's, for instance, a disturbance involving several subjects, multiple units will respond at that time. We never want to be sort of outnumbered, as it were, if possible.
And so on a typical Friday or Saturday night, around midnight, how many police vehicles are typically patrolling Walnut Creek?
Say Friday, Saturday night, around midnight, we'll say, there should be 12 to 15 officers on.
That's separate vehicles, too?
Some will pair up, so maybe 10 to 12 vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a call could take 2 or 3 of those vehicles out of circulation?
That's correct.
Okay. That was the answer. Thank you.
Councilmember Darling, Councilmember Francois. All right. Councilmember Francois, any chance you would be willing to go first?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you all for being here. And we take this very seriously, obviously, because there's livelihoods at stake and there are business operators and owners at stake. And we heard from our police department we've only gotten to this point with one other operator in the course of the last 10, 11 years that we've had the deemed approved status. But that also signifies to me that we've gotten to a broken point in the process, that things need to be fixed. And when it gets to that point and it gets to this level, all the way up to the city council, we have a duty to do to protect and serve the residents of our city along with our police department. We're looking to be good partners with our business owners. We're not looking to punish anyone. We want you to succeed. We prefer not to show up at your business at all. And if your business is operated in that manner, we don't. And you don't have to come here and you don't have to appeal a planning commission decision. So I think when I look at the whole arc and the history of this, 43 calls for service over a 3-year period, most of those calls for service being after 11 p.m. We had many of those calls for service extremely serious, in my opinion, a track record of at least our police department reaching out to you at least a year ago with 1 letter, and then 2 more letters earlier this year that I believe that there was sufficient time given to make some. I think that should have been a wake-up call. I think there should have been some pretty substantive changes being made as of last fall. If I got a letter like that operating my business from the city, it would have got my attention, and I would have been changing things immediately. So I appreciate the efforts that have been made. I think that staff here recommended an 11 o'clock closing time, which I think would have been justified by the numbers of calls of service and the issues we've been having. I think the Planning Commission reached a reasonable result here. I'm not going to retrade that result. I think we could say 11 o'clock, but I think that I'm trying to be fair and to balanced, but I'm also respectful of the fact that there were prior issues and warnings given. It sounds like from at least one neighboring property owner. And he wasn't just here today. He's come to us before and raised issues and complaints. He may not have told you, but he's come to the council and raised those sorts of issues. That this is serious enough that we have to make a change to the operating hours. It doesn't mean this gives you the opportunity to change your business model, to come up with your plan, to put in the pool tables, to hire the additional security guards, to do everything you told us you were going to do. And if that happens and you've got a good track record and you're not a drain on our police services, then you can come back and apply to change it. But where things stand right now, and I was on the Planning Commission when we did this with Krogan's, and it was a very similar situation, and it was a serious situation. It's gotten to that point where the system is broken, and we need to take a significant stand. That's not something that I relish doing, but when I ran for city council and we all did this, we took this responsibility seriously. And like I said, we haven't done it with other than one other property owner or business establishment. So I was also on the Planning Commission before the deemed approved status, and I saw what the drain of that was on our police resources. So we adopted these standards. We expect our businesses to adhere to them. I very much hope that you do. I very much hope that your business survives, that you take this now seriously, because this is, in addition to the letters that you've received, you're receiving both from the Planning Commission and the City Council our opinion that, yes, you need to change your operating hours. And with that, I will be supportive of denying the appeal and affirming the Planning Commission action.
Councilmember Darling.
Again, thank you all for coming tonight. I know this is a very difficult issue. Small businesses are it is a tough role to be in. But I also was on the Planning Commission back prior to the deemed approved ordinance, and the challenge that we were experiencing that time. I mean, Captain is not blowing things out of proportion. Downtown was out of control. We had numerous other bars that had problems that we had to deal with on a regular basis. So that's why we went, and we don't want to go back to that. That's why we went through and put in the deemed approved ordinance. That's why we put in the standards. That's why we started the bar meetings. That's why we have the cooperative efforts that we have to say, here are the standards. This is what we expect. So we're at a point now where I am supportive of what the Planning Commission decided in their decision. I think it gives an opportunity to rebuild. I think the idea of a business plan, reach out to the Small Business Administration if you need help with those kinds of things. Use it as a chance to reset. We're aware of the challenges that you're facing. It's not lost on us, but we're all committed to the safety of our city, and we don't want to see a return to the kinds of problems that we were experiencing. And so we need to keep going with the spirit of the deemed approved ordinance, and we need to kind of back up what the Planning Commission said.
Councilmember Wilk.
Thank you, Mayor. So I feel for small businesses. I own small businesses myself, and as I mentioned, I've been a bartender before. And what I saw, without question, was as an owner, there were far fewer problems in general when I was on the premises. I'd have my managers be there maybe once or twice a month because I was working all the time. There were more problems. There just were, because I was more proactive as an owner. Every single restaurant owner that I have talked to in my time on city council, which is now at 7 years, has told me that their being on site reduces problems at that business. They see it every single time. And frankly, Jazz, you're the first owner that I've ever heard that has said it doesn't matter if you're there or not, that you trusted that it's the same. And as a nightclub, this just simply defies logic and credulity. It just doesn't compute with me. Not being sure if all the security guards have valid license-issued security guard cards, I think that's a concern. It's not a requirement to have it, of course, but it may have helped with problems. But you didn't know if they had them. You turned to your head of security to ask them, and you weren't sure if they were expired or not. That really is an owner's responsibility to know. Like the buck stops here. That's what it comes down to. I really came into this understanding. I'd read the reports, I read the appeal, and I wanted to really hear both sides, and hear what does the PD say and what does the owner say. And the questions that I asked were specific to see how much you were dealing with and understanding what was happening in your business. And unfortunately, it didn't answer the questions that I had to my satisfaction, and that's a concern. To not know off the top of your head exactly what the percentage of alcohol sales are by the hour, when you don't have food, you just have alcohol, that's really surprising. Most businesses know exactly when their busiest hours. They could tell you down to the dollar and cent. You weren't exactly sure of what the percentage was on essentially what you're talking about is 5 hours of business. 9 to 2, 8 to 8, something like that. So that tells me that you're just not as much of a hands-on owner as maybe you think you are, or maybe you certainly should be. Not changing the dress code when the police department said that's something you should think about, but you didn't do that. When other establishments that have said there were fewer problems, we even heard from one of your patrons that said that there were fewer problems when the previous owner had that in place. You didn't do many of the things that were being suggested, including the bar meetings. I've talked to other bar owners in the city, and they've said that those have been really, really helpful to have. They established good relationships with the police department as well, with other owners. They ask for help when needed, especially if somebody's security guard doesn't show up, for example. Didn't take advantage of that. I'm going to say something that's going to sound kind of harsh, but if I didn't know that there had already been a homicide nearby, I'd be worried that somebody would get killed because there were just these problems. I heard from several people more than willing to do what it takes to make these changes, but you didn't do what you needed to do to take. You made some, but you didn't do whatever it took. I'm also concerned about the location of Spoontonic. You can't change that, get that, but it's off the main street and it's out of the core downtown area. And when it requires police calls, which, as we heard, often takes more than one vehicle and sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 vehicles to respond, those vehicles are taken out of the core downtown area, which are really needed on Friday and Saturday nights, and out of the neighborhoods. And so it's vacated those areas to handle these issues that are happening primarily, it sounds like, between 11 and 1:30, even 2 a.m. What's interesting, when I've seen police vehicles on Locust or Main because there's an issue at some establishment or whatever, even if an establishment hasn't called and the issue with the police is not right there, everybody on Locust Street is now, acting like the teacher's watching them, and they're all behaving well, everybody on those streets. But when the calls are at Spoontonic, nobody can see them anyway, so that doesn't impact positively the businesses that are around there. This came up, and I don't know how we can best handle this, and this is probably going to be something more in the police department. I don't want there to be a disincentive for nighttime or anytime establishments to call PD for service. There has to be positive reinforcement that if there's an issue, call. Because what I'm really concerned about is if the message is don't call police department because that's going to be now a tally against you, we're not going to get those calls, and we're really going to be responding to a much more serious incident. So I really depend upon our chief of police, our captains, to get that message across that there are calls that we're being responded to because there's a 911, and there's calls we're being responded to because an establishment could use a little help and it doesn't go as a ding against them. I'm really concerned about that. That's just a recipe for disaster. And I'm also, and part of my concern here, we're not talking about closing the business. We're talking about changing the hours. I understand there's a lot of sales, I'm sure, that happen between 11:30 and 1, but as my mom used to say, it keeps hearing in my mind, nothing good happens after midnight. I think there are problems that happen after midnight to 1 a.m. I think you even said it happens during closing time. I am concerned that Spoon Tonic closes earlier. We have to pay attention to those businesses that might not have had as much of a problem, and now we're going to have an influx of people that are coming in there that might have had a drink at Spoon Tonic or elsewhere, but I think we're also going to be putting more people on the street as well, and that does have a concern for me. I'm really glad to hear about thinking about changing up the business a bit, pool tables, sporting events that would be seen, although I don't know how many sporting events happen after 11 p.m., but regardless, that's good to hear. That's the kind of thing that, should we see those positive changes, as we've heard, come back and appeal and see about moving the hours to something that we can get back to a point that helps you to become more profitable. But my kids are both in their early 20s. And from what I've seen in the report and from what I've heard about some of the lack of directly hands-on, I'm going to be honest, I would feel really concerned if one of my kids had said, I'm going to Spoon Tonics tonight. That's not a reputation that you want. I love the fact that Walnut Creek is something for everybody and has nighttime businesses as well. I really hope that this changes things and perceptions and becomes a good player in the environment, and it reduces the needs for police calls and service, and that we're here in another year, whenever it is, things have gone well, and you're talking about what you can do to increase hours. So thank you for being here. I'm going to be supporting the Planning Commission recommendation as well.
Mayor Pro Tem.
When I first read the report from the staff, I might have even said, God, they should cut their hours back and stop at 10. It just sounded like it just wasn't going really well, and it just wasn't getting the appropriate amount of attention. I'm at the point right now where I am supportive of the Planning Commission's recommendation, but as you could tell from my question, I believe that this group has the capacity to overcome the bad reputation, the actually difficulty of their location because it's so isolated, and that if they put their hearts and souls into it, and hopefully they have enough money to get there, that they can have the very lounge-like place that even I would go to in the evening. But I like Councilmember Francois said, there were even if some of the stuff that the city was trying to communicate with you wasn't very clear, there were reasons why there should have been changes faster and sooner, and you would not have had that accumulation of calls for service. So I'm rooting for you, but I don't see any way I can not support the Planning Commission's decision.
Last but not least, thank you for your effort this evening, and thank you to the people who came and supported you. It is, you make a very compelling case for why community is important. I'm going to be supporting the Planning Commission and this decision, and let me explain why. Deemed approved is not a right. It is a privilege, and it's a privilege that gets lost very quickly. You've had 18 months to 2 years during which the behavior of the business has been unacceptable. And what I heard tonight and what I heard when I watched the Planning Commission meeting is a lot of blaming it on others. We're not responsible because it's not all our parking lots. They're in other parking lots. Unfortunately, when you're a business and this is the kind of activity you have, part of the deemed approved responsibility is you have to take care of the impacts of the business. And they don't just occur inside your four walls. They occur outside. And your patrons do not know where your parking lot begins and the neighbors begins, they don't see those demarcations. You have a responsibility to understand what's happening outside, to keep it from happening, and to clean it up before you leave the premises in the middle of the night. Your neighbor at Buckstove, at Napa Auto Parts, shouldn't have to come to you on any day and ask you to clean up the mess from your patrons the night before. I'm sorry. That's what you were describing. If you're telling me that the Napa Auto Parts people are there at 3 a.m. after you've closed, getting you to clean it up, then I'm even more concerned that they feel compelled to be in their business in the middle of the night. You have blamed it on crime in general in Walnut Creek, and I've heard it from your lawyer, and I've heard it from you more. And I would say if it was a crime in general problem in Walnut Creek, and I'm not saying we don't have crime, then we would be having many more establishments in here with the same problem, and we don't. If it was a homeless problem, then we would have the homeless officers telling us it's a problem. It's not the homeless. I appreciate that you have an idea. The Planning Commission told you on August 24th to get a business plan and get change going. And when I asked you tonight, do you have a business plan? You said no. When we asked you, had you been to bar meetings, and the Planning Commission and the Police Department told you, it has told you repeatedly about the bar meetings, and it was expressed in the Planning Commission meeting a number of times, you haven't done it. I know you're disappointed, but there are 5 of us who have heard you this evening. And this is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you heard about it on August 24th and you were told it was important, it is your job to reach out and find out how to fix the problem. It is not our job to help to fix it for you. We can't. So I will entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd move to.
Sorry, Madam Mayor and Council, I would just note that the last recital on the first page of the resolution, which starts, whereas the public hearing was opened and all interested parties had an opportunity to be heard, it then has a placeholder for the number of public comments, and we would just recommend you enter 7 in there for the number of speakers we had this evening.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. I would move to adopt the resolution denying the appeal of the Planning Commission action and affirming the modification to the conditional use permit of Spoon Tonic Lounge as modified by the City Attorney.
And I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. Would the roll call vote please be taken?
Councilmember Francois.
Aye.
Councilmember Darling.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilk.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Haskew.
Aye.
Mayor Silva.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
And that concludes our meeting this evening.